NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
Preseason, a couple hours away from kicking off. This is Real Hockey Talk. Greg, Eric, Dave, and Rick broadcasting from Dillon's KC Barbecue here, 2585 North 59th Avenue, basically off the 101 and 59th Ave. So, get down here. We'll be talking hockey, of course, and football fans, college football fans out there. Got every game possible probably going on here in the bar area and just right outside it. And if you've never been to Dillon's, have some of the best barbecue in the state.
Brontosaurus ribs, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite here.
Yeah.
You got it.
Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me. It is huge. It looks like the.
For anyone that's seen The Great Outdoors, the late John Candy, when he has to eat that whole, I think it was a steak.
The old 96er.
96er.
Yeah.
Got to eat the gristle. You're not done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. But, yeah, I mean, it's literally
delicious.
Humongous. And, take it home. You have lunch and dinner for the next day.
Yeah, it's hard to eat the whole thing, actually. They remodeled a while back a lot of TVs for sports action. This is probably a little more sports-oriented than their other four locations.
I think so a little, but they're all great because, here, more sports-oriented.
Yeah.
Just off the 101, so it's easy
right by
access.
the office, Thunderbird.
Yeah.
The
and
other
then,
location.
that location there, 83rd Thunderbird, or 91st Thunderbird. And then you have at the Wildlife.
You've been there.
That is awesome because if you sit on the patio, you got the flamingos there right on the other side. It's nice. And the Dillon's at the Wildlife World Zoo.
Really cool deal.
Wildlife World Zoo.
I haven't been
the
there.
one way out there,
The one that
out
we're
west.
not at.
The one that we're not at.
The one that we're not currently at has the cool flamingos.
That has the cool flamingos.
Yeah.
This has all the cool
This
sports
has all the
stuff.
good sports guys.
Exactly. And then Lake Pleasant has one.
I've been there. It's really very relaxing right on that, what do you call it, the bay? Or I don't know if you call it the bay, but
Never been there.
right on the lake,
though.
Lake Pleasant.
Yeah.
Great food there as well. All of them, of course, are very consistent with food. I think it's a little different menu, or maybe not all the menu there, so you want to check that out. But it's certainly worth going. The Lake Pleasant location too. Very relaxing. You sort of roll with the little current, and it's like really relaxing.
And Dave actually once got stuck and rolled down.
That's
into
right.
the water.
And Eric, as you're wondering where I'm going next, your eyes are getting heavier and heavier.
Oh no!
Yes, in the count of 3, you will be under. Okay.
I'm distracted from your hypnosis by the huge industrial smoker that I'm looking at here out in the patio.
Yeah,
which is a dead giveaway that they've got some good barbecue happening.
Oh, look at that! I've never noticed.
That's the size of a
trailer.
Of a 77 cockpit.
Looks like it there. Well, last week we did our Eastern Conference picks, and I don't remember what everyone did, but I think Rick had it marked.
I have it all down.
So we'll get that online where everyone could see.
Oh, good idea.
So, Rick wants his bragging rights, and we'll see.
I think we all can't brag until April.
I can brag.
Yeah, we got a little time to go.
I can brag.
He thinks he's all that.
Yes.
But today is our Western Conference picks, and once again, with all the parity out there, it's tough because you look at, both divisions, but the Central might be a bloodbath. I mean, except for the poor Colorado
Very
Avalanche.
tough.
You see Matt Duchene's picture yesterday on Media Day? He just looked like, I want to get out of here.
Well, the PK Subban for Duchesne rumor is alive and well. Really? To Nashville.
Where'd this one come from?
Came out 2 days ago.
I wouldn't do that if
Google
I was Nashville.
If I was Nashville, I'd do it in a heartbeat. You're dealing with a player who is not necessarily welcome in the locker room.
Really?
Yes.
What? Maybe with Montreal, I know there are some issues, but he's a good guy, though.
I haven't.
I haven't heard
different.
this before.
It's out. It's been floating around.
That's interesting. Well, we'll see what happens.
Is this the National Enquirer?
No.
Or, really?
I don't think they'll do it.
It was on TSN.
TSN? Were they just joking about it?
No.
That is
the
crazy.
Inquiries have been made.
Wow. Well, yeah, of
that
course.
That didn't take very long for Subban to wear out his welcome.
No,
I don't think he seems like a happy, really happy individual.
I just don't think Nashville would, despite whatever could be out there, I can't see that happening. And now Ryan Ellis is out for a while, and but Subban's a guy. Look at all the success they had last year, and
great success.
He's a good part of it. So,
interesting. So there it is.
Yeah, but Rick showing me some of the talk that over the summer.
Matt Duchene.
Well, he said, the Avalanche tried to acquire
Elliot
him.
Friedman, yep.
But when Elliot said, with that, is he saying Nashville was also looking to move Subban, or was it just Colorado asked? Because
I think the answer to that is yes and yes.
That's interesting. I love Elliot Friedman, too. He is one of the best in the business. You got, like, Bob McKenzie, who's one of the best, all of sports journalism, all that stuff. And then Elliot Friedman, though, is pretty good, too. I like his 30 thoughts, what Rick was just showing me.
Yeah, when we get into Nashville, you'll see some of the things that might be driving it, and that was probably before the Ryan Ellis injury.
Oh, okay.
They got to replace like 85 points with Neil and Mike Fisher. That's not easy to do. Yeah. So they're going to need some scoring, and maybe that's what triggered it. And they had extra defensemen with Emelin, but now Ellis is hurt. Yeah. Something will happen.
That's a good logical
It's possible.
Actually.
It's possible.
Yeah. All right. So what did we're going to do? What did we learn this week? Right.
We are.
And who wants to go first? Okay. Oh, I should go first?
It has to be hockey related.
Someone say
it can't be weather. It can't be climate control.
It has
and more, and no singing. More recently too would be a good thing.
Current, I think, is the word.
Current event.
I did do that.
I learned something this week that happened in 1922, the year I was born.
Yes. No, I decided
Montreal Maroons.
I did go current on this one.
Okay. Shock us.
It's just recently reported. There's been rumors, of course, Chris Daniels, NBC affiliate, KING TV Seattle, that Mayor Ed Murray from Seattle has already agreed to a $600 million proposal from Oak View Group, which plans to construct an arena at the city's Seattle
Actually renovate,
Center.
Right?
No, they want to construct, I think, a brand new one.
What, $600 million?
$600 million NBA NHL team by 2020. Now, of course, coming up here, I've heard this before. They talked about it more about Calgary. Just going to throw a secondary deal where Calgary said, "Hey, you guys aren't negotiating. We're done." And it came out the same time Seattle announced. I think it's coincidental. I think Calgary will stay. They will eventually get their arena, but Seattle's positioning themselves. And in fact, it's gone so far. I want to read some of the nicknames they're giving to a proposed Seattle NHL team when it does get there, and I don't say if, I go when, because it will. Seattle Steelheads, one of them. Seattle Skyline. Just stop me when you like one. Yeah. Seattle Metropolitans.
That's what they used to be known, the WHL.
Yeah. Seattle Snowcaps. These are all proposed names. Seattle Thunderbirds. That's not bad. Seattle Nighthawks. Let's see. The Seattle how do you say that?
Saskatoon?
No.
Sasquatch.
Yeah,
Sasquatches?
Yes, I can't even
say it.
Seattle Kraken, Seattle Thunder, not bad. Seattle Pilots, and my favorite. Oh, wait, there's still more. Seattle Thunderbirds, Seattle Grinders, Seattle Neon Warriors, and Seattle Grunge. There's
you say Grinders?
The Grunge?
Yeah,
I
Grunge
like that because of the great Seattle coffee.
But my favorite is the Seattle Coyotes. That's my favorite.
Oh, God.
Okay. That's what I learned this week.
What on earth do you mean?
I'm not even sure what I mean.
They are not going to – Gary Bettman is not going to let a new building come up. The price tag is already $650 million for the next team. They're not going to relocate somebody.
Well, they do I think Quebec is the next franchise.
I think Seattle could be, but expansion. I
right.
Think they'll get
They're not relocating a team and passing on $650 million.
Good money.
It's already $50 million more than what Las Vegas paid. They've already raised it.
Let's get an ownership in NHL then.
Yeah.
Why don't we buy in?
Okay, I'm up.
I'm good for about $5,000.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, then I could be half your partner.
We're almost there to 60.
I'm good for $225.
Okay.
In there.
How about
Baby
Rick?
steps.
What are you good for?
I'm not. No, I'm saving my money.
Okay.
Save my money for my grandkids.
Oh, excellent.
Yep.
Or you could buy the team for them.
I don't, but someday I will.
Okay, very cool. I like it.
Yep.
All right, so that's what I learned. So interesting. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So the Neon Warriors is on the short list of names?
Not
are there
Neon
backstories
Warriors,
to all these things?
Seattle Neons, I think it's called.
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves with the nickname.
Yeah, they published it evidently. So I don't. Oh, Neon Warriors, yeah, Seattle Neon Warriors. I don't know, Golden State.
What was their original?
Well, there was
WHL
Metropolitans in the WHL in the Western Hockey League, and then there's junior hockey there, and I think they're the Thunderbirds.
Yeah. It's good hockey up there. I mean, it's a great rivalry with Vancouver that they would build. Yeah. No, I hope they do get a team at some point. I think they will, like Rick said, expansion, but I don't see the relocation thing.
No.
So we're at 31 currently?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that means that they're itching to get one more in there to even it all out.
And the Western Conference is unbalanced.
Exactly. So they need one more. Yeah. So Quebec one day, if anything, Quebec could be the relocation at some point if there's an issue. But I think, Seattle is expansion.
Makes sense. All right.
And they fell in love with soccer up there when the MLS team came, so that feels like they would sink their teeth into a hockey team.
Oh, man, they draw.
As a fan
so
base.
does Portland, too. They really draw. And, Rick, you've been going to soccer out here. Did they announce MLS yet?
No, I think they're waiting for the
I think it's a sure deal.
I think it will be.
Which is exciting, I think.
Yeah, then I guess they'll play at ASU until they build a new stadium on that side. Last week we talked about when the league expanded in 1967 and some of the antics that the owners played behind the scenes, how everybody's connected. You know, William Moritz owned the building in St. Louis, and they didn't want Vancouver have revenue. You dig into this OVG group that's in it's almost a slam dunk.
Oh yeah,
the people that are in it. I mean, they've got ties to the Maple Leafs. They've got ties to the Bruins. They've got tied to the Madison Square Garden group. The Bruins. Already, Jeremy Jacobs owns the concession rights already for that building and any team.
Really?
Yes.
In Seattle?
Geez.
Yes.
Well,
this is the NHL mafia. This is what this is.
The views expressed
Everybody
on this
is connected.
Oh.
Plus an extra $50 million.
I see someone coming in with a
and you got
the dark coat and
you got the Jerry Bruckheimers of the world. Here's the money.
Yeah, show me the money, right? Yep. Well, yeah, I think it's you're not building a big arena like that and not going to house it.
No.
Yeah, it's a done deal.
They're going to build it right on the site.
Too, not far.
Yeah,
far.
Well, here's the thing, though, with that. Does it have to pass council stuff, even though the mayor did it? Because probably a lot of taxpayers, I've already heard, aren't happy perhaps with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the arena itself, not a done deal. But, I agree. If they do the arena, of course.
Yeah,
it
should do way better than Glendale did. And Glendale, just switching back to Calgary really quick, that was built in 1983. You need an upgraded. You got to upgrade it. But they did mention, Glendale today on the NHL Network about, what a fiasco that was. The taxpayers taking in the shorts there in Glendale. Yep. So, it's a tough one, which makes it even harder to build a new arena, have a vacant building. The government, no matter what city you're in Arizona, is not going to necessarily like that. It's just difficult when you lose that type of money.
The NHL owes it to the city of Glendale to make it successful there. They do.
Well, not according to Gary Bettman.
Well,
but you're right. I mean, NHL did, understandably well. I mean, and Glendale gave them $50 million 2 years, 25 each 2 years in a row to keep the team in there, and they were hoping for long-term success. So how upset would you be if you're Glendale and not getting support from the NHL?
Yeah,
I like the NHL as an organization. I think they're great, but looking at Glendale, it's. But I think both sides have made errors. The Coyotes from way back,
without doubt,
and the city of Glendale, and then they got a little bit in trouble. Remember, we had some of the people on that switched from Glendale and then employed by the Coyotes. Remember, Greg?
Yeah.
And that was a little questionable. in a way.
It's one of those things I don't like to get into that stuff because I don't.
Well, that's
know.
true.
I
It's
just
political.
look more of in on the ice product and just hope everything works out.
I did review the Coyotes.
We all did.
You'll
so
be
that's
surprised.
So your what did we learn was touching on the Seattle.
Yeah, that
situation.
I think it's a done deal, and maybe you're right. It's going to probably be a franchise. They did mention Quebec, but Quebec, but they thought they were in position too for a team. Now they didn't talk about relocation versus franchise, but sort of makes sense if you can get that type of money, I guess. So there we are, and that's what I learned this week, actually today.
Fantastic.
All right, I'll go. This time of year is, as Greg said, people reporting to camp. You've heard the term PTO, professional tryout contract.
No, paid time off.
Yeah. A lot of players right now, you're seeing pretty quality names that are on PTOs. And what the listeners have to understand, you have a less than 10% chance of sticking with the team when you're on a PTO. What's interesting, though, and obviously I'm going to go through some of the notable names that are on PTOs. You might really be shocked. It's some of the guys have gotten to this level. Of course, Minnesota just inked Dan Winnick to a PTO this past week.
Oh, wait, which team?
The Wild.
The Wild.
And, going through the thought process there, you got Bruce Boudreau as the coach. Dan played for him before. There is a system in place. They lost Eric Haller. They need leadership. They need a little bit more edge. He's got a legitimate chance to stick with the Wild. He's coming in the camp in incredible shape, so we'll keep an eye on that. But other teams, I'm going to throw out some names. Tanner Glass, we all remember him.
Yeah.
He's on the Flames. Cody Franson still did not have a contract, but he's in the Chicago Blackhawks camp on a PTO, and he's a pretty solid 5 or 6 defenseman. I think he's going to stick. Mark Stewart, a little long in the tooth. He's in the Blackhawks camp. David Booth, Red Wings. Chris Kelly. Now think about this. Chris Kelly's got Stanley Cup under him, 2011 with the Bruins. Pretty good third, fourth line center. Gritty, locker room, great guy. He's in Edmonton's camp. Now that's going to be a tough roster to make in Edmonton, but experience. The guy's gone deep in the playoffs. Okay, does Chris Kelly find a home with Edmonton?
So it has some logic to it.
Brandon Perry, back with the Panthers. Interestingly enough, the Los Angeles Kings have 11 players in camp on PTO.
Oh, man.
Okay, much more than the others. I'm saying 1 or 2.
And one's a 37-year-old rookie.
They've got Brandon Prush, Brooks Lakes, Brett Sutter. It's interesting, and that
Brent Sutter.
Brett. So when we look at that team, if they have 11 guys in PTO, they're in transition. They're really looking for something.
China.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. I mentioned Dan on the Wild. Jimmy Hayes, who's on the, played in Florida, played in the Bruins. Really didn't do anything from Boston, Mass. He's in the Devils camp. Roman Polak, great defenseman, back with the Leafs on a PTO.
Interesting.
And a couple of names here, former Coyotes, Scotty Upshall.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan White last year for a little bit.
Yeah.
Are in Vancouver's camp.
Well,
which is like a death sentence.
Yeah, well,
but they might make the team.
They're going to get a paycheck.
Well, probably. So that I just wanted to share some of that.
Upshaw, didn't he play for? Was it?
Quite a few teams
last year though. Wasn't it Predators or?
He was St. Louis.
Or St. Louis.
He's been on Nashville, St. Louis, Coyotes, the Blues.
His day has sort of
the Flyers.
Yeah, well, he originated the original Flyers, I think, but.
Good player, too. I mean, good two-way player. Gritty. He's got a little edge to him.
Yeah, Vancouver has nothing to lose on that one.
No. So that's, I wanted to share that.
In fact, that might be an upgrade, sadly to say.
Oh, we'll have fun talking about, I hope none of my Vancouver listeners will listen
that could be brutal, right?
It could be tough.
Could be. All right, who wants to go next? Would it be Greg or Eric?
Let's see. Eric's looking. What will Eric do?
I'll tell you something I learned. That is the upcoming potential Supreme Court case hearing to change the current laws of sports gambling. The existing law, I believe it is PAPSA, that was written into law in 1992 that extends the federal government's control over legalized sports gambling in the states. So you've got Governor Chris Christie behind a group that is bringing up removal of that law and allowing states to decide for themselves whether they want to allow sports gambling. And there's a lot of.
So is it illegal now? You can't gamble? Is that what you guys are saying?
Well, single bet sports wagers, I believe, are only legal in the state of Nevada.
Right.
And there's an estimated $150 billion worth of wagers
that goes out of the country
in the Caribbean islands and the European websites.
Isn't there a sports book though in Atlantic City?
I don't
at the
know
casinos.
I thought there may have been. I've never been, but you would think.
I thought there was, but
it might just be Nevada.
Hey, they're trying to get their hands on the money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. A lot of, I guess, the states that are a little cash strapped. You got to look where you got to look, and there's a gambling publication that says that within 5 to 7 years, if that federal law is removed, that between 25 and 35 states will have laws in place that allow individual sports gambling. So I don't know. I don't know if I like it. I don't.
Well, we could have a talk about the rise and fall of society with
exactly.
The ramifications on that are as equal to as legalization of
marijuana
or anything.
Prostitution.
They talked about the negative side effects of putting casinos in certain states and what it would draw people to. Now you're talking about that level of gambling, but there are states hemorrhaging with the layers and layers of infrastructure and people on retirement. Illinois can't pay a lottery ticket. They give you an IOU. Massachusetts is hurting. Connecticut is hurting. New York. All these iron states from back, they're all hurting. They need money. They're not going to redefine the way people have been getting retirement and these jobs. They just keep pouring cash at it.
Wow.
And it's got to come somewhere. Whether it's a tax or a tax on gambling, it's all the same.
Yeah. That's a good point.
In late November, arguments expected in the Supreme Court. Decision anticipated by the end of June.
Interesting.
And as the mobile apps that Vegas casinos have, that people can make wagers on their phones, will work. The apps will work in T-Mobile Arena.
Oh, wow.
So the NHL, who in the past has been said irreparable damage if gambling is allowed, might be softening.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You can't stop it. At the end of the day,
the
absolutely. Wagers going on. People are going to get to people. And that's just.
And I'll do mine after break. I still have to figure out what I learned, but we're broadcasting from Dillon's KC Barbecue, 2585 North 59th Avenue. We'll do my What Did I Learn, then we'll do our Western Conference picks. Come out and join us here at NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060.
HD Radio is here for NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. Check out your favorite shows and games on 100.7 KSLX HD2.
Welcome back to Real Hockey Talk, broadcasting today from Dillon's KC Barbecue, 20585 North 59th Avenue, just off 59th Avenue on the 101. Come down here, not only the great food, but, hear us talk hockey, and, of course, you have a lot of college football games, other things going on, tons of TVs to watch it on. And Greg, Rick, Dave, and Eric here, and I know Rick wants to talk about something.
Yeah, just want to point out the David Pasternak deal was done, completed about 3 days ago. He's in camp, ready to rock. Everybody's pumped. He signed a 6-year, $40 million deal. It averages out to under 7, so 6.67. So calmer heads prevailed. The team is happy. He's happy. I still think they probably, Bruins tend to be a little tight in the wallet at times, but they did the right thing on this one. They weren't going to let another star come back to haunt them.
You said everyone's happy except Montreal.
Yeah.
They're not.
Well, he was going to go to the KHL. He had 4 contracts to go over there, but the biggest contract you can make in the KHL is like about $1.2 million. Everybody else drops down significantly, but it was still an option. But he probably did it as a little bit of leverage, but he's in camp and ready to rock.
Good.
How old is he?
22? 21, 22.
Pretty young guy.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah,
good player. Yeah, he's a good player.
Absolutely, yeah, because you knew it would get done, but, luckily at the beginning here as camp takes off, so you don't miss a beat, and some good stuff there. What did I learn? I learned, I was actually going to mention that, is, some of the deals done, not just with Pasternak, but Brian Little and Zadra, with Colorado, so all three kind of get done, right as training camp approaches, and I like them for all parties. It seems like even though you still have crazy deals out there that do happen, GMs to a sense, and at least with the agents and players, are not being as crazy in some ways. You still see the craziness, but it seems like it has got a bit better, though, because even when you look at unrestricted free agency, a few years ago how it would always be, insane, and you still have some of those long-term deals, 6-7 years to older players that get handed out that you go, really? However, you're starting then to see these veterans that, even in a weak market where they might be, a guy that you would think, okay, he could get tons of term and money because of how weak the market is. They take a little less and a little less term. But now with some of the RFAs, we see that happen. I mean, you just saw Draisaitl, obviously his deal and everything, but he's tremendous and going to even get better. But Pasternak, already amazing sniper, great goal scorer, but it's a fair deal because sometimes wingers don't have that value that a top line center iceman has. So I think it's just perfect for all sides, and some of these other deals with the RFAs that got done this week. I think everyone did pretty well.
That's great.
So hopefully it helps us as we get into our lockout in a couple of years.
That's probably true.
He's in line for another contract before he hits 30.
Yeah, so it's perfect. Yeah, so for him, it's great. Keep doing your thing, and then get big time again. So it's good for everyone involved.
Excellent. So now it's a Western Conference analysis. Oh no, did you do what did you?
Yeah,
started.
Yeah.
There's a story before we get into the teams here. There's a huge story that we need to talk about, and it deals with player safety.
George Parrow.
You're going to see Clark MacArthur failed his physical for Ottawa for concussion syndrome. For the same symptoms.
Oh.
He's had a history of that. My question is, who cleared him May to play in the playoffs? He had missed a year. Suddenly, he's okay to play in the playoffs. Did well. I think he scored an overtime winner. Was playing. Season Ottawa gets eliminated by Pittsburgh. Now he fails a physical. This is going to be interesting to see what happened here.
Good point.
There's something behind the scene here. I don't know how this is going to play
Michael
out.
Jackson's physician that cleared him?
I think it could be Team Greed treating a player like a piece of meat.
Wow, that's
if that comes through, the NHLPA better get involved because player safety has to be number one.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd throw that out there because I think you're going to be reading more about that as the season progresses.
And I did hear George Parrow's on the phone today on NHL Network and didn't mention this incident, but he looking forward. He took over that department and wants to certainly cut down on the slashing of the hands.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing that happened, especially to Johnny Hockey. He got slashed 21 times
by Eric Stahl.
Game. Yeah,
and it was planned.
And exactly, and so they did mention that, and I agree. You don't need to slash someone's.
And Sidney
hands.
Crosby hit Mark Mathot so hard he basically severed his finger.
Yeah, almost lost
on the tip. Okay,
so they are going to look
at that.
It was
Crosby, so it's okay.
Yeah, well, it won't be now.
So the NHL has status among the casual fan. Concussion problems are linked with the NFL. The NHL is in a position where they're not linked as much, as strongly in the public view. So
but it's prevalent.
They need to this is a problem. This could be a tipping point.
Yeah.
If you look at the players that have taken their own lives based on what has happened after retirement, it's a
several.
problem. It is
Quite
a
few
problem.
enforcer types.
Right. And I will say this, that the NHL Players Union, as compared to the NFL Players Union, the NFL takes care of more of their past brethren. Right. They also have a bigger pot of money in the TV.
Yeah.
Today's NHLPA doesn't necessarily give two hoots about the player who retired in 1975. Okay, whether it's medically or financially. It's pretty sad. That's a separate topic. Okay, whenever they've had their negotiations, they haven't done much for the former player.
Well, yeah, that may change because I think the NHL owners will be at a little disadvantage come the next agreement.
Yeah, but the league can't afford a work stoppage, though. It can't.
Oh no, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I think the players' associations association will get. They have a little leverage, and I think, and we should talk about that.
I mean,
in one of the shows coming up.
Today's negotiations. If the owners said, okay, all theoretical. I'm going to give each team. We're going to raise the cap, but not call it a cap. You got $5 million extra by every team. Call it $150 million. Just say 30 teams. It's $150 million. You, the Players Association, have a chance. Do you want that for current salaries for each one of your players, or how about this? You take that $150 million and you go backwards in time and fix the problems. If you took a vote right now, the players, they'd probably take the money now and not protect the veterans.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Of
course.
Yeah.
Right. But the NFL's been a little different on that because they've had a bigger pocket of money.
Well, also they've gotten sued left and right. So I think that's also part of it,
and
is that they're getting claims on some of the past players.
And
so
you're going to see that now in the NHL within the next year. Bettman and the NHL owners are going to get sued for CT. It's there.
But I think the NFL just not naturally altruistic. I think it's a lot of the lawsuits driving that. So
of course,
So I mean, but it's unfortunate. Yeah, I mean it's really unfortunate. And then some of these weird things that are happening with ESPN and stuff. I mean that's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. I don't know. There's a lot of controversy now with people taking a knee during the anthem or not taking, ESPN, I forgot who made a comment about the president. I mean,
Jamel Hill.
A lot of weird, I don't know.
And the ESPN's facing a lot of backlash for
that,
and which they should.
That could be a problem.
Yeah, I mean separate topic, on pure player safety.
Yeah.
You can argue that the commissioner's office likes the gladiator match attitude going on the ice in the slashing because it's putting people in their seats and they're seeing things that's going on.
You think slashing does that?
It's part of it.
I think the altercations are cool, but the slashing of someone's hands, I don't see any particular fantasy in that.
Well, you know what? But they've made such a push to take fighting out of the game, which is the worst thing you can do in hockey.
I think they got to go back. Not quite to the old days, but a little bit more.
Right. I mean, you don't want. But the way you police the jerk on the ice with the stick is let someone beat the hell out of him. And that's the way it's going to stop.
And Gretzky would agree with that too.
And he was a survivor. So today you're running around. You got an eye shield on. You got a mask, and you can
cut down the stick work. Let the fighting go on. That's my motto.
And they really got to cut down the there's so many things in player safety we can talk about. Equipment, speed.
That's quite a bit.
Red line. Yeah.
Well, let's get George Perils on. Maybe we could get him on and talk a little bit about what's going on. What do you think?
We could. That
idea.
would be a good show.
And he likes the physicality, though.
Greg spoke with him in the past. Greg met him.
Yeah, and I heard him.
Personal friend from what he said.
Yeah. Thanksgiving.
Sorry, I missed what was.
We're talking about having George Paris on the show.
But he did say the physicality part is really important. He's not going to do away with that. But he's not keen on the slashing of the hands. And
right.
I am okay with that.
It is serious. But with the physical part, it is great, but it just has to be done in a tasteful, respectful manner. Now, sometimes, because the game is so fast, you'll see maybe a headshot that isn't malicious. It might just be an accident. You go in for the hit. Maybe the guy ducks a little. Just stuff sometimes sadly happens. But you still see too much of the disrespect where
Right.
I'm going to get that guy in the head. Oh, wait, uh-oh. And so, yeah, you got to stop that too, and it's tough. But
Yeah.
And then the players, they police themselves, which is to
Yeah.
go. Still
I hope never happens is when Bill Masterson died on the ice from the high stick back on the North Stars and original expansion. If that was to happen right now with a grotesque elbow to the head against the boards and someone, you see them drop to the ice and they lose their life that way, we can't let it come to that.
No.
Right.
And unfortunately, sometimes it takes events like that to fix. But separate program, let's dig into the West.
Yeah, let's get, because we're going to run out of time, I think.
The unbalanced Western Division.
I call it the Wild West. What do you
So
think?
7 teams in the Central, 8 teams in the Pacific. Before we start, I'm going to say that overall, the 15 teams in the Western are overall stronger than the East. Not necessarily the best team, okay? I still think the East has the best teams.
I agree.
The Penguins in Tampa.
I would
as
agree.
compared to maybe Edmonton. So there's been the Western has built for beefy size, whatever, and obviously it's you saw what happened to San Jose 2 years ago when they tried to skate with the Penguins. They had no chance.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
But Nashville could skate with them.
Yeah.
But overall, so
Vegas agrees with you, by the way. Edmonton, Chicago, Dallas are 2, 3, and 4 in the Stanley Cup odds behind Pittsburgh.
Where's the Blues? I think I like
well,
that.
how do you want to do this?
We'll
I
get
think
there. We'll get to the
why don't we go? What do you want to go?
I got
Central, Pacific?
Let's go Pacific. You want to go Pacific?
We'll do whatever you want.
All right,
to do.
Pacific. And then I'll throw out some questions, and then you go for a free
And
for
I'm
all.
going to write down here and then
Okay.
put it all on a spreadsheet.
And, of course, we'll start with
the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, the
because
Arizona-
the letter A.
exactly
Anaheim.
So here's
Anaheim Ducks.
Yeah, right. You're right.
A-N.
I stand corrected. You're all right.
Well,
The
we're
N,
not doing alphabetical like last time. We're just going to do the Pacific.
in case
All right, you
That's
wanna
what
do
we did
Oh,
last
we
time
did?
by division, alphabetical.
Oh, we
Because
did?
we're all going
Let's-
to have teams in different spots. I already
All right.
know off the bat.
You are quite correct. We'll
Yeah.
do Anaheim then. How's that
Yeah,
sound?
go in order.
All right, Anaheim. Okay, here's the 3 questions I have.
Go ahead.
And then you guys comment. Now, Anaheim, I like Anaheim a lot, although you yesterday said there's some injury issues. But the first question, can forward Corey Perry return to form as elite NHL goal scorer?
No.
I mean, 33 goals in each of his full NHL seasons since 2010-11. Led the league with 50, won the Hart Trophy, 19 last year. I don't know. If he can't come back, it's going to be
his past 2
tough.
years have been his worst.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Sub 20. To come back from that, I could see 1 year. But, I look at what he did last year with 19 goals, only 5 on the power play. You kidding me?
Yeah, well, he had a little less power play time, but still, I agree with
That's
that.
self-inflicted.
Yeah, well, you're right. Actually, you're right. And so that's one of my questions. The next one is, can goalie John Gibson stay healthy? This guy is a legitimate goalie, though, no question. .924 save percentage. He's really third behind among goalies playing 2,500 minutes last season.
But they
behind
address that, though.
The what?
They have Ryan Miller to take care of him, to spare him.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing.
It's a huge
Yeah,
move.
so I think I'm real fond of Anaheim. And then can Ryan Getzlaf get them over the Stanley Cup playoff hump? And he's been tremendous. This guy is the real thing. He's getting a little bit older.
But he's not a superstar.
But he played like a superstar during the playoffs. He was everywhere.
He is a fantastic.
How do you define that?
He's
That's a
only
good
scored 30 goals once in 12 years. That's not a superstar.
Yeah, but he
is a great
Yeah.
leader, two-way player. In his size, phenomenal face-off guy. He's not a 50-goal scorer. He's not Erik Karlsson. He's not that type of player. He is the ultimate team player that you want on your team, you want to be in a foxhole with, but he's not a superstar.
But that's the question. Do you need a superstar to win? I don't
people
think
have
you
to
do.
stop telling Ryan Getzlaf,
Yeah.
you're a superstar.
So he's a great player. He's just not a superstar style
Yes.
marquee
Right.
guy.
That's the way I
As an anchor.
Right.
But-
I mean, I love him. Don't get me wrong.
But
I
he
want him
was
on my team.
third in the NHL in assists behind McDavid and Backstrom. So, I mean, he's got some numbers to give him much credibility.
Greg, do you think he's a superstar?
I'm not saying he's a superstar, but I think he's a star.
I do, because of when you look around the league, what they have. I mean, he's not that level where you've had the big three for a while, where everyone talks about Crosby, Malkin, Ovechkin. But I think he's right below it. I would almost put him near with anyone else in terms of forwards, just with how he could drive the play. Now, look at that team last year. Yeah, Perry didn't really score. When they got Patrick Eves, now Eves had a good year with before he went there.
That's not going to happen again with Patrick Eves.
No, I agree. But him and Getzlaf formed instant chemistry. Getzlaf could make a lot of players around him better. And so I love that. I mean, I love the playmaking center iceman. Now, Getzlaf isn't much of a goal scorer per se. He may not shoot that much when he does. He has
maybe
a nice shot.
Joe Thornton type.
Yeah, similar, but still a different style overall. But I would put him up there partly just because there's just so many good young players there. But Getzlaf still with the old guard. I just think he's just such a smart player, and I love that playmaking ability. I enjoy watching him. So whether you say the name superstar or not, do you only include a guy like Crosby, McDavid in there?
No, I mean there are superstars. Austin, Kucherov, Ovechkin.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we can go on and on and on and on before we get to Ryan Getzlaf. I mean, I don't think people fly in from New Zealand to go see Ryan Getzlaf play hockey.
Well, I just want to see his hair, or lack thereof.
Yeah.
No, okay. If you put it like that, yes, I agree. He's
what do you do for the team?
But I
phenomenal. We're not arguing that.
But what Rick's saying and Eric's saying, I get it from that extent. I do.
So almost a point per game player, though. You got.
Oh yeah, no, based on that play, yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's sort of cool.
Major contributor to the Canadian gold medal a couple years ago as well, right? That's my image of him. I always thought he was a little overrated, and then kind of realized that he's an anchor for a gold medal winning.
You go back
Canadian
the last
team.
couple of years with Anaheim. Remember at the start of the season, what's wrong with Ryan Getzlaf?
Oh yeah,
what's wrong with him? That's not superstar conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a fantastic player. Anaheim addressed. They got solid goaltending with Ryan Miller's a phenomenal backup.
Oh yeah.
John Gibson's still only 24 years old. Played 52 games last year. However, his statistics dropped in the playoff. Okay, they did. So just keep that in mind. They can score enough. I think Raquel has proved myself wrong. I think he's a legitimate 40-goal scorer now moving forward. I think there's a little transition here on the team, who the leadership is going to be. I don't see Corey Perry being a 30-goal scorer again. Patrick Eves is not going to have the type of year that he had. He is a journeyman-type player. And I'm a little bit concerned on the defensive side. They are not a physical defense. Okay, they've got some size, but they don't play as physical.
Manson is physical enough.
One guy. Cam Fowler doesn't play. Kevin Bieksa is getting old in the tooth. Sammy Vatanen, Hampus Lindholm are not physical defensemen. Okay, so they're transition guys. So I think they're that bridge trying to make Anaheim keep up with these Eastern teams. You got to get the puck out of your own end. I like Anaheim. I have them making the playoffs.
So do I. I have them dropping in points, though, from what did they have, 105 to 101.
So Dave has them.
I have them making the playoffs with the droppage of points.
Greg?
101 points.
Yeah, I have them making the playoffs, but the injury, here's the thing, is Ryan Kessler, while he had a great year and played all 82 regular season games, most of the second half he was playing pretty badly hurt.
Yep.
And then you look at the playoff, his offensive numbers were obviously down in the playoffs, but playing badly hurt, and it showed. He had his hip surgery and now saying out probably until at least Christmas time, maybe even longer. I just think that is such a huge loss. Now, despite some of the depth and the young guys like, Raquel, now that you could have behind, Getzlaf, stuff like that, shift them over to center. You're missing that, and I think that could that was an advantage. It caused matchup issues with other teams. So I see the Ducks stepping back in the regular season. But come playoff
but
time,
they're
we'll
making
see.
it. You know.
Yeah. And you don't have to win your division
Right.
to have playoff
Right.
success.
Yeah. So we're not picking
agree.
points higher. We're just picking who makes it. And the other thing, Ryan Kessler.
You pick
I know everyone hates Ryan Kessler if not in. This guy has played 12 years in the NHL, and 8 of those years he scored more than 20 goals.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for a third-line grinder. That is pretty. That is
a shutdown annoying guy
exactly.
providing you offense.
And you want him. You want that guy on your team. But
no doubt.
what's the new slashing rule? It's going to affect his game a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, that's
But
true.
what do you have, Eric? Do you have
Yes.
Anaheim in?
All right, excellent.
Yes.
Unanimous.
That is really cool, right?
So we're not going to have anybody from Anaheim driving over here and
No.
attacking us. Okay.
No.
We're
I
good.
Well, they
think
don't
they'll do
really
fine.
have many spectators at their games, but still.
And we'd
All
have,
right.
we'd have a couple hours to make it out of here before.
We did.
I'd
yeah,
actually
they
love
got
to
here.
go down there, take a little Disney trip.
Wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Now, A before A. So we got the Coyotes now, the Arizona Coyotes. Here's the 3 questions. Will Rick Tocchet get the most out of the young players?
Yes.
Is one. We'll talk about that. Can Dillon Strome, Clayton Keller, Fisher, all these young players make an impact?
Not all.
Not all of them. And will Ranta actually prove to be the number 1 goalie? That's he's had great success so far as a number 2, but that I think may be a key factor.
He's never played more than 30 games in a season.
Yeah.
And that is something that you're going to have to carefully watch because
Definitely.
Louis Domingue kind of took a step back last year.
Yeah.
He didn't have the year he had before. I think there is a concern there. You can't – I think you're going to – let's see it. Ranta, what he does, if he gets on a run, you're going to play him. But you really don't know what he's going to do beyond 50 games. And that's a tough one. But Rick Tocchet, clearly, he's going to get the best out of these guys. But all those guys you mentioned are all not going to step up. It's not going to be all. They've got some great things, but they
have other youngsters.
Yeah.
I mean, Dvorak.
Great
Chychrun,
player. Chychrun,
Of course, Domi. I think he's, of course, legit.
That injury to Chychrun is tough.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is huge.
Mm-hmm.
That sets the team back a little bit. They, I think, Ekman Larsson is going to have a better year for obvious reasons this year.
Yeah.
You know, if he's going to be paired up with Sharmelson, that's a good thing. Even though we've talked, he's 30 years old. He's played, 800 games. Including the playoffs. Ekman Larsson, this is his time.
Mm-hmm.
Is last year's minus 25, a fluke? He took like 80 less shots last year than he did the year before, so he has to step up. Keep an eye. I'm still concerned. I think the Goligoski contract at his age is brutal, and I know they got him as a transition guy. But you will see a much better Coyotes team this year, entertaining with youths, letting these kids play. Perlini and Dvorak and Christian Fischer and Toby Rita. I think they're going to be good. And Derek Stepan, he's not a pure number 1, but they are better, but not enough to make the playoffs.
And I do not have them making the playoffs, but I do have them increasing in pointages from 70. I think they're going up 12, 82. I think they're going to make a little improvement, 82. But not enough, not even close to make the playoffs. Make the playoffs this year, you're going to be 94, 96.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
They need, as long as they compete every game, and especially on road trips.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think they could. But, the question, the goalie, and can they allow less shots? They've had some problems there. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, almost to the break, but real quick, Eric.
No, I'm sorry. They're going to beat Vegas, and they're going to beat Vancouver alphabetically and in the standings.
Yeah.
But they will be 6th, and they will not make the playoffs.
I don't have them in the playoffs either, although I have them in front of, as you said, the Golden Knights, Canucks, and the Sharks.
Yeah, they're going to. Some teams are not going to take them seriously. And Arizona's going to skate right by these teams.
They'll be fun to watch.
Right, they'll be fun to watch.
It will be fun, no doubt.
Absolutely. We're broadcasting Dillon's KC Barbecue, 20585 North 59th Avenue, right here on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060. We'll be back with more Pacific Division talk.
NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060, KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
We're back here on Real Hockey Talk, broadcasting from Dillon's KC Barbecue, 20585 North 59th Avenue. We got our menu, so we'll be ordering soon. And, of course, we'll announce that on the air.
Everything last time
great.
you ordered on there.
New trend that we've got going.
Yeah,
but I tell you, the Brontosaurus, where is that?
We'll be on the Food Channel soon.
Dave's favorite thing there,
Love
it was amazing.
That.
But Greg, Eric, Rick, Dave, and we were talking Pacific Division, so we'll continue with that. We were talking about the Coyotes before the break. None of us have them in the playoffs, but I think we all have significant improvement. Eric?
Yeah. I neglected to mention Coyotes are tied for the worst odds to win the Cup right now at 100-1.
Oh.
And Anaheim, fourth best in the West at 14-1.
All
tied
right,
for
really?
fourth.
Sort of makes sense.
Tied for fourth with a team you'd be surprised, Nashville.
That makes sense. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it is so tough with the West in general, and we'll continue more, and so you'll be able to really hear why it's tough.
So the Calgary Flames.
All right, here's the three questions. Will the defense live up to its potential? And there is big potential. Hamilton, Brody, Giordano, and of course the new acquisition,
Travis Hamonic.
So that's pretty good. The other question, it's sort of an interesting question. Mike Smith, will he provide stable goaltending? He's 35 years old. It's a new goaltending tandem for 3 straight seasons. Both goaltenders every year, both of them, the backup and the starter have gone, and now there's a new round of goalies.
It's a smart move, Eddie Lack. It's good to bring him in. He has familiarity with that conference.
So hopefully, and then will another forward prospect emerge? I mean, they've had some pretty good ones with Johnny Hockey, and of course Kachuk coming on as an impact player, and I think they sign.
Sam Bennett.
Bennett.
3 years.
That's right.
Yeah, and
this
he has
is his
a chance
third year.
to be really good. Yeah,
I have big thumbs up for the Flames. One of the bigger improvements, a big improvement, not the biggest improvement. I have them making the playoffs easily.
They built their team to get past Edmonton. They're not gonna win a horse race, a shootout with the Edmonton Oilers. But they're trying to beat net out. It is risky. Mike Smith. This is a big year. If they can get 1 year of him of 50 games playing at his level, and Eddie Lack the rest, that's a good thing. If they think he's going to play 65 games at the risk of his injuries that he's had,
that's right.
You cannot do that to him. But this team is tough. They watch Calgary play hockey, especially the Edmonton game. I mean, I have them making the playoffs. I think their defensemen are the top 4, and even Michael Stone as a 5th is huge. I mean, they've got Matthew Tkachuk. The kid's just 19 years old.
Phenomenal.
And remember how he was with Drew Doughty in the playoffs last year. He's only going to get better.
I wish it was the playoffs.
Right. Well, 13 and against them. I mean, 13
You're
goals.
Right.
He's going to improve. They got Troy Brower his second year. Sam Bennett, Sean Monahan's a great player. Mikael Backlund. I think they have enough scoring.
I think so.
They don't have a superstar up front other than the potential of Johnny Gaudreau, who had a down year, but he was hurt.
Yeah.
He had a down year.
And kept getting slashed.
Yeah, will anything with the stadium have any bearing on the team this year? It shouldn't. I mean, this year it shouldn't.
No, they sent a consultant from Arizona to talk about that.
Yeah.
So that'll work out great.
I have Calgary making the playoffs.
Why they were 94 points last year. I have them going up to 101. I think they're that good.
They could be.
And Greg?
Yeah, I mean, I have them making it. I have them leveling around the same area per se, which is hard. I mean, it shows because, as you guys both mentioned, Rick mentioning, all the young guys like Kachuk and company, and Gaudreau will bounce back, he'll be healthy. Mm-hmm. Monahan, you got a lot to like, and I expect Bennett to keep getting better, a lot to like with his game, more consistency. The top, the D in general is great. Now, Mike Smith, I thought he was phenomenal with the Coyotes last year. I do think he had a great year with what was in front of him. I just don't think he's going to be able to hold it down there mentally. He could get off his game easily in a different market per se. So I think they might still have some goaltending issues.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility.
And despite the D, so they'll make the playoffs. And Smith will have his flashes of brilliance. You say, yeah, there's Smith. but then he'll go through that little streak where you're like, and he'll cost them some games per se. So I see them making it, but despite a lot of the positives, that's just kind of going to be the key. I think. Will he be able to do it?
How Glenn Gulletson, the coach, handles Mike Smith and Eddie Lack is going to be his biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Without insulting either one. Okay. Right. He's going to have to sense that, hey, Mike's in one of these troughs right now, so let's rest him. Yeah. And he's got to be honest with himself too and be healthy. Do not play hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Eric,
I say yes.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
They are the last team in. Only one of 3 teams in the Pacific that will make the playoffs.
Unless
we are in agreement. On the.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, so now we go Edmonton. Am I correct?
Edmonton.
All right, 3 questions there. Really handling the high expectations, sort of like Toronto. I think that's a big question. Returning a lot of people from last year. How about let's see, the goalie situation? Will he have a good backup? I think is
73 games Cam Talbot played last year. You can't do that.
Yeah, so you need someone did well. I wouldn't say
the kid played 8. He played 8 games or something. Laurent Brasseur. They need a backup goalie. I was harping on them to go after Ryan Miller. That's where I thought he should go.
Would have been good. Probably
Talbot, he proved me wrong. I'm going to admit that. I didn't think I don't think he's a 1A.
Yeah,
I think he's a 1B, 1C. You can't put him in 73 games. It's just not fair to him to do it. He is 30 years old, so he's kind of on that crest right there. But they're ready. I mean, you saw what they did last year. Their power play is phenomenal. They kill penalties. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, we can go on and on. Some of the players, they made some smart moves of picking up Yossi Jokinen, like a little older guy to make the team. I have them in the Stanley Cup Finals out of the West.
Well, I
mean, that's how good I think this team is.
And they're moving to 110 points. Definitely first in the Pacific, I think, playoff bound.
Yeah. No, I agree. They'll win the Pacific. I think they'll get the most points in the Western Conference, and just a lot to love. And McDavid is just phenomenal with that, and you got that nice mix because Lucic, Maroon, big guys that could add some offense too. So there's a lot of different areas they could get you in, and the D is getting better, and some of the young
Ryan
guys.
Strome is there now.
And I like that because Eberle sort of had a tough year. Strome, a different type of player. Yeah, I like what Edmonton's going to do this year. They're going to be a very tough, good team.
Their defense is kind of like the no-name defense a little bit. You don't hear. I mean, Darnell Nurse, he's been in the league enough right now.
Right.
I don't think he's going to be ever in the Norris conversation.
Right.
But he's a solid, tough defenseman. Mm-hmm. Getting Adam Lawson last year. He didn't score a lot.
Yeah,
but he's plus 21. I mean, he did just what they wanted to do. And remember the name Oscar Klefbom.
Now, he might be a Norris guy one day.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He's going to be in the hunt. He's ready to step it up.
2 great, exciting teams, Oilers, and we talked about Toronto last week. What do you got, Eric?
Yes, Edmonton has the best odds in the
in
West.
Vegas?
Second best in the league. They're 9-1, just behind Pittsburgh. I don't know how you can bet against that, and it feels like they're only going to be getting better.
Yeah.
Top 10 in goals for, top 10 in goals against last season. In that division, they're a 1 seed. No chance. No chance of anything worse.
Oh, I agree. They're going to be fantastic.
And their best player's pretty good.
That guy's all right.
He's not bad.
David fellow.
Now, one thing, if the only thing that sometimes concerns me a little bit with Connor McDavid is has he still filled out physically? If he ever got hurt and missed time, I fear that.
And he did.
Yeah, he did. Year. He did that first
Bummer.
year.
He would have been the rookie of the year by hands down.
He's MVP favorite. He's got all those things. I mean, Edmonton is for real. Their deal is pressure.
Right.
And Todd McClellan coached team with pressure hasn't necessarily done well. as we go back to the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
It kind of led to his
which is next on the list, by the way.
And they've got the pressure as well with the salary cap.
Yes.
Because they don't have a lot of space, and if they don't win this year, if they don't do some damage,
right.
they might have to be sellers next year. Right?
They got some contracts out there, so
you're right. So we all
I think that's a no-brainer so far. We're all in agreement for the first 3 teams we've picked.
We have.
And for me, it ends for a team coming out of the Pacific right now because the Central is just too good. But
LA Kings, yes. Here's the questions I have. Just jump in. How many starts will a healthy Jonathan Quick make? That's one question. Can Kopitar rebound? I think so.
Yes.
Tyler Toffoli, will he get back in track? Yes. So the real question is Quick healthy? Certainly top 5 goalie when he's on his game. So is he fully healed? I think he is. Will he have any injury problems? Never know, I guess. But if he's on, they're in every game.
But did they increase their team speed?
Let's ask
Valencia.
Let's ask the expert, the Greg, the Kings fan.
My answer is they did not. Hence 11 guys in PTO.
Oh.
Well, the PTO thing. They have 5 per se because some of those guys were AHL team coming up, but a lot of that reason is they are the China games.
That's true.
You have to have 8 veterans in your lineup. There's 2 games there, but then they're also playing down here during that time.
You need bodies.
And so they need those guys. So that's part of it. Because, I don't really expect any of those. Maybe Brandon Press, possibly, if they move Kyle Clifford or
I think
Jordan
Brooks
Nolan.
Light has a chance of making the team.
He's in great shape, and I love the guy. It's just, he's really had fallen off. But, yeah, I agree. I mean, the speed factor is a big thing. Now, that's tough. Now, Adrian Kempe, he'll make it from the start. He came up last year. He's the fastest skater in that team and the organization, and so they implement some of the young forwards in. But my thing with them is this. Everybody last season, except for Jeff Carter and Tanner Pearson up front, had awful seasons. Now, are the guys that bad, or do they still have it? I think Kopitar still has it, and Toffoli was playing hurt when he came back. These guys will pick it up. They aren't as gunned after anymore. Teams and fans alike, everyone might go, the Kings, who knows? But I think there is still a lot more. The fact that even Drew Doughty, we were expecting that coaching change. The full year they wanted Sutter gone, these players.
I agree.
I think the Stevens effect, it's going to show like how the Blues, when they made their move during the season. So that's why I still have them. I have them jumping back into the playoffs, partly because there's going to be more of these positives with guys coming back. Now, Quick, even though he's healthy, Rick has mentioned this a lot, his style, he is prone to those growing injuries.
He's 31 years old now, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Peter Budaj was amazing last year.
Yeah.
But the thing is that team, there was extra conservative having Budaj around. Now they're already emphasis on jumping back up. I just think that they're going to have more guys than not who had tough years last year bounce back. Maybe not in great ways, but I think it will be enough because
average, they should. I mean, should. But let's just hope Jeff Carter doesn't go negative either.
Well, he was terrible offensively though the last 25 games or so. I think he only had 1 goal. He was just so good. But I think that's why everything will even out, and I just think the coaching change is the big thing, and the whole team around over the course of the season will be better. Daryl Sutter's style, you expect so much, and he's a great coach, don't get me wrong, but when you're playing 82 games, you have to pace yourself a bit. They're human beings, and that was tough, and I think Drew Doughty had mentioned, you got to have a coach that you're comfortable, you can knock on their door, and maybe if you have a disagreement, maybe talk it out. No, they were scared.
And they've always been great puck possession, like last year too, actually, but it didn't equate to much success. But they were tied 24th for goals for. I mean, 2.43.
Will they score?
They will get better, and that's why I struggled, but I just barely have them in play. It's going from 86 to 96 points.
So you have them making it?
Just barely as a wild card. I mean, really, and in fact, tied actually with I had them tied with the Wild, and the Wild I dropped down a point so the Kings get in. I did it for Greg.
I appreciate it. No, I just.
But I do think the new management, new fresh energy, can equate to 5 more wins.
Tanner Pearson's going to have a good year.
Oh, yeah.
He's a better player. It's just it's an uphill
tough,
battle.
Though.
It is.
But do you think it's a wild card position?
No, I actually. Partly with the Ducks injuries and some questions with the Sharks and stuff. I see them in the top 3 because they're fresh, too. Now, the China trip, that could do. But without playing a lot of hockey these last few years, I think some of these other teams will pace themselves a little differently. So that's why I see them in the Pacific getting into a top 3.
Now, I do want to point out that you are wearing an LA Kings hat as you make it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's the homer part, but there's also the close attention to some other things going on and things that may have been going on last year. And that's why I think that now they do have short-term cap space if they do need to make a move, if they're in contention. They have that ability. Now, they don't want to give up any of the few decent name prospects or picks that they would have, but there is more flexibility there than there has been. But even a guy like Jake Muzzin, he was awful last year. That's not Jake Muzzin. And
Alex Martinez didn't have a good year either.
Exactly.
His worst year in 4 years.
I think they'll bounce
and they've
back.
already, that's the main thing that they've looked at in training camp is get these guys back as a pairing like they were last year. But what was the issue? And I think that those kinks will be worked out enough. And
but the loss of Bob Miller is terrible.
Oh, yeah. Well, the young fellow, Foss, taking over. 27 years old,
Hopefully
I believe.
He's good.
What do you think they'll get out of Dustin Brown?
See, I thought Brown last year was their best forward on most nights. Now, which tells 2 things.
I think they'll get a lot.
They had a tough time.
That speaks volumes, if you know.
But when you watch him and Sutter were the ones that really
didn't like each other.
Yeah, and now he's triple. He stays in great shape. He's so snake-bitten. Now, part of it is, yes, he will have great chances where he'll shoot the goalie's chest and stuff. He's not going to score 30 goals like he did a few years ago.
He hasn't scored 20 in 6 years.
Exactly. He got 14 last year. I think he'll be in that 17 to 22 range because, again, other guys are going to bounce back.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is still, if you watch the Kings a lot, you go, well, Brown's still a good player. He's not. He's just on a horrible contract. If he made $2 million
played 13
less,
years. I mean, he's getting a little long in the tooth.
Well, there's that. Yeah, but he still showed that energy.
He's over 1,000 games counting the end of the playoffs.
Well,
he's played a lot. Kopitar got to be healthy. Got to come back.
Yeah.
Can't get 12 goals from him again. If you do that, I mean,
if that happens,
right. I mean,
no way.
He's been a stud. He's 8 years, 20 plus goal.
Mm-hmm. But you don't have him making the playoffs.
I do not.
All right, and the decider is not really the decider. But it's
I say no. Las Vegas odds say yes. They have the Kings
really?
as the 7th
best
odds.
But that's a bubble right there. Yeah.
But yeah, they're on the bubble. But yeah, it feels like last year was a worst case scenario. So improvement, yes. But I like Calgary's defense.
There's a lot
taking
of good
them
teams.
to the third position in the Pacific.
Calgary and Edmonton's speed is on such a notch above LA's.
That's one thing. The speed game is the thing that could kill them.
And the Kings have to kick about 10 more points to make the playoffs.
It could happen.
But I think they – I mean, I sort of think they do.
Despite our love, even though he'll win the Hart Trophy, Michael Camilleri – no.
I purposely didn't say anything. I thought you were going to wear a Mike Camilleri jersey today, too.
I was thinking about But here's the thing. The guy, personally, there was issue off the ice, and he was injured. He's 100% back with his buddies, Kopitar and Brown. I see Camilleri having more consistency than he did last year with New Jersey. with, again, some of the stuff off the ice that happened. And I see him having a nice year if he's healthy, 17, 20 goal range.
Well, the L.A. Kings rookies did beat Las Vegas this week, rookie team. So
one of the times, but then they lost the other one.
And speaking of Las Vegas,
so, yeah.
That's our next...
it's not. They're just called the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yes, that's something I learned this week.
Yeah. We're leaving the L out.
You don't need Las Vegas
It should
Golden
be
Knights.
San Jose next.
Oh, darn it. Okay, I thought it. You're
Dave
right.
was excited. He thought he finally had one.
I thought I finally had it there.
Yeah,
get to the Peter DeBoer San Jose Sharks.
Okay, let's go.
And go through your list of questions here.
Yeah, let's go for the list. And I know that. Well, on the expansion team, it's going to be tough. They had some good picks, of course.
Expansion team. Talking about the Sharks.
Oh yeah, that's right. See, I'm still on the.
The L is
thing.
gone. S.
We're going to the L. Darn it, the V.
San Jose, and I said the Peter DeBoer San Jose Sharks.
Peter DeBoer presents
he's still
the
there.
San Jose Sharks.
I asked him several questions during the Stanley Cup playoffs to you.
All right, let me throw a couple of things
throw
out
some
here
questions
with this team.
while I get
this
up there.
team is it's going to be interesting. They can score. Their power play last year was rock bottom. You can't get, which was shocking when you get guys like Pavelski, Brett Burns. How can you have less than 17% efficiency on the power play? They've got stars. You got Joe Thornton back. Brett Burns is the real deal. I love Logan Couture. I love, Joe Pavelski. But I don't have him making it.
But
wow.
Logan, 25 goals last season, but hasn't reached 30 since
Martin Jones, he's a solid goalie, 2 years, but he's played 65 games.
When you got to rely on Bodker,
well,
forget it.
Every team has fillers.
Everyone has a Bodker.
Donskoy went down, too, and Hurdle's been injured. He's a great player when he's
Paul
not
Martin's
injured.
36 now.
I don't. Yeah.
Joel Ward's 36.
I have
Joe
them going down to 86 points, not making the playoffs.
Thornton's not going to start the season, right, on the team. Is he still rehabbing?
No, I think he's 100%.
Is he 100%?
Yeah.
They're one of the tough divisions. I just don't see them keeping up with the ones we've already said. I don't even see them keeping up with the L.A. Kings.
I don't either. I see the Coyotes finishing ahead of San Jose.
Oh.
Well, I didn't go that rock bottom.
I'm going that rock
I didn't go that rock bottom.
I think that San Jose will finish in front of the Golden Knights and Canucks in the Pacific, but that's it. And DeBoer, a good coach, but the welcome, it seems like after you get a few years, then, as you said.
You don't have him making it?
Oh, no, not at all. I love Martin Jones, but again, I think it's just tough. Yeah, Burns, Vlasic on the back end. And it was nice with Martin because he stabilized that second pairing, but because of the age, who knows what he'll have left. And it's just, they have a lot of questions. Obviously, if Hurdle's healthy and does what he's capable of, and Donskoy bounces back,
don't think it's enough.
They'll have some good things, but I just don't. I think it's, and I'm not just saying this because Marlowe left. I mean, Marlowe was still a very productive player, but
people
getting older.
But they didn't replace him. They didn't replace any of that,
right? Yeah.
And they got some youngsters that may combine 89.
Some decent guys.
LeBlanc maybe. What is it, Mia?
Now he's someone to watch.
Yeah, so they got a few.
This is a team right now you're seeing is in transition. Yeah. They are a victim of being good the last 8 years, and they haven't had good draft picks.
Exactly.
And this is what you see on the ice right now. So
I agree.
What do you think?
I say no. I have them fifth in the Pacific.
Ooh.
So that's 3 no's, and it's up to...
You're the decider.
Oh, I already said no. I said that's...
It's 4 no's.
Even if Dave had them, yes, he's going to change his mind to no right now.
I had them going down from 99 points to 86,
so
not making the playoffs.
Okay. No Sharks.
So all 4.
Yeah.
And they're tied for 8th with Calgary, odds-wise.
Oh.
They're on the cusp.
That's shocking in my opinion.
Those who care about astrology.
That's the value of opinions, which there are 4 in play right now.
Correct.
So.
Wow.
So
it moves in waves. The Sharks have been up for a while.
It does, and they remind me of when the Boston Celtics, when they had all the good guys, and then they had no picks, nothing less.
Yeah.
And, Bird, McHale. Not to say they were that good, but they haven't built anything.
Oh
yeah.
I have a little article that I was reading about teams' prospects for the season, and every team has a notable gains, notable losses list. San Jose Sharks, notable gains, none.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Only 2 losses with Marlowe and Miller. But
yeah, and they didn't backfill any of that.
It's going to be tough, no question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we go Vancouver real quick?
Well, after the break.
After the break, I think.
Less than a minute left, so we'll do the Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, no, there's no tease for them. And the Vegas Golden Knights. And then we'll do a quick Central Division rundown.
It'll have to be really quick.
Yeah, time flies by. Broadcasting today from Dillon's KC BBQ, 20585 North 59th Avenue off the 101 and 59th. Come down here. We'll be here till 3. And, of course, broadcasting on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. We'll be right back.
MMA Fight Radio covers the UFC, Bellator, Duel for Domination, and everything else in the MMA world. Thursdays at 6 p.m. on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060.
You're listening to Real Hockey Talk on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060.
And that's our new announcer, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, she is precious. That is Jasmine. We call her Jazzy here on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 KDUS in Phoenix. We are here at Dillon's KC BBQ, 101 59th. It's actually about a couple blocks north of the 101 freeway on 59th Avenue. Definitely.
And now even more options are available. Call 888-995-HOPE today. That's 888-995-HOPE. Or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov.
Good night, Mama.
This is why. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ed.
Okay, we're back. So pay attention. That Facebook update can wait till next break.
Kate Delaney, NBC Sports Radio, NBCSportsRadio.com. Nothing like catching some college action. My alma mater, nothing to write home about as far as, I shouldn't say that. I mean, great crowds, pretty exciting, but nothing like what you see between a Memphis and a UCLA. So that's part of the story. There's your big hint right there. You look at the scoreboard, and my, oh my, what happened, UCLA? Not the intended outcome for them. Memphis winning 48 to 45. That doesn't tell us about the game. We'll dive into that, and we'll dive into some of the other action, too, including the games that are going on right now, and there's a slew of them, pretty exciting, and some of them looking like they're going to be big blowouts. Okay, on the blowout side, and it's still early going, less than 8 minutes to go before they hit the halfway point, but Wisconsin blowing out BYU 17-3. And in this game, you know, you look at Jonathan Taylor was always such a big factor, and he rushed for a touchdown, 73 yards, and less than 10 carries for Taylor in doing that. Still a lot of time left on the board. As far as tight games, East Carolina and Virginia Tech, this is a tight game, just a handful of points separating them, and they're still a long way to go in this, 12 minutes before they hit the lockers for the halfway point, and East Carolina on top, 17-14. Because I live not very far from SMU, SMU is always fun to watch when they take on TCU. And TCU is a much better team, really, on paper, and if you've seen them play at all, TCU makes the top 25. In fact, they're ranked 20th. They are trailing to SMU 19-7, and that's because the Ponies put up a couple of quick TDs in the beginning of this game, put up 16 points in the first, and Ben Hicks the quarterback for SMU, passes for over 134 yards so far and a touchdown, and that's midway through that second, getting closer to the point where they hit the halftime. All right. I know there's a lot of Tennessee, Florida fans out there. Why? Because you have written me. You can hit me up, by the way, anytime on Twitter, Kate S. Delaney, Kate S. Delaney. And, of course, you can always dive on the digits, 855-323-4622, 855-323-4622. But the reason to call is who's the biggest disappointment so far on this college football Saturday? And I bet a lot of people would ring the phone who are Bruin fans and say, whoa,
we're back here. A little technical glitch here, but again, still at Dillon's KC Barbecue, 20585 North 59th Avenue. And we are just about to get into the Vancouver Canucks, and we're done with the Canucks. And so
you didn't miss anything, callers.
Well, we could just do this real quick, I think.
Well, I think so. I'm hoping my friends in Vancouver and Surrey
they'll forgive you.
No, they won't forgive me.
Well, no, I think they all don't expect their team to make it anyway.
This is a sad situation.
The Sedin twins, number one question. It's not even a question. They're just not the same.
They should change the name of the team to the Vancouver Lotteries.
And do they have a number one goaltender? That's the second question. And can a new coaching staff fix the power play that was 30th during actually the past 5 seasons? So
they have possibly a breakout rookie on the team, Bo Horvath, great player, stuck on that team. They upped him.
Gagne signed.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Well, I'm gonna put the Sedin brothers in perspective, or as I like to refer to them as Donnie and Marie.
Oh, okay. Yes.
They both played combined 2,500 games in the league. I mean, Henrik Sedin, they call him, he's only scored 20 goals twice in a season. Okay? This is how many body checks the Sedin brothers threw in this last hockey season. 35 combined between the two of them.
They're twins.
Henrik
right.
with 15 and 20 with Daniel.
Oh.
That might be the worst statistic of any hockey player.
But they have the highest statistic in hits per salary.
Yeah.
It's right. Dollars per hit.
That is brutal statistic. I would hold my head in shame. These are two guys, when the season ends, they get in their plane and they fly home to Stockholm.
What do they do there?
Wait for the season to come back. I don't know what they do. It's irrelevant. Those contracts saddled that team.
They listen to ABBA.
Nobody wanted them.
And this is the last year of their deal.
Thank God.
What's their number? What's their salary number?
I didn't even.
8, 9, 10?
And they bring a guy like Thomas Vanek, who's got. Oh, really? I mean, oh my.
Right.
Poor Travis Green.
I think going to be
brutal.
a great coach. I think their average cap hit, I could look it up. It might be in the 6-7 per, but at their age now, that's where it takes place of really.
Their power play last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
14%.
That is just terrible.
With Donnie and Marie on the team.
Man.
Okay, I mean, think about it. So now you're giving them open ice, and that's how bad this team is.
Oh yeah.
29th in power play, but at least they were 28th in penalty kill.
This is
5th in penalty minutes.
This is 1970 all over again. This is the expansion Vancouver Canucks.
So what do they sing? Is I'm a little bit Swedish. I'm a little bit Finnish.
Yeah, exactly. But both some Swede. They have like Rich. Bo Horvath is what to look forward to. He had All-Star year, last year, and a good contract that they agreed to. The extension.
And then who?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's some in the pipeline now. They got some stuff there. Problem is, Benning doesn't really know what he's doing. Although, again, I like that Horvat re-sign. I think
they had to. They didn't have a choice.
But the amount of term money, I think it was actually a good deal for them, as well as Horvat. Ownership there, they just have this issue where they still want to try to hold on and win, make that extra buck.
Well, needless to say,
Vanek won't put people in the seats.
Oh.
Louis Eriksson's probably towards the end.
And look at that contract, though.
Ridiculous.
That was just year one of his deal.
Yeah.
There's a reason why the Bruins didn't sign him.
And it's unfortunate. unfortunately, the guy was a very underrated top six winger for so many years, but he's had so many injuries, and I think it's catching up.
Never should have left Boston. Should have taken a hometown discount where he would have been relevant.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
That's a good point.
This is the Cosmos payback for Vancouver rioting their own town after the Game 7 of the Cup Finals a few years ago. I'm sorry. That's the only way you get to this spot.
You remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacob Markstrom, I guess, is their number one goalie. They made the trade last year with Florida, right? They brought Gabranson as their real top.
Yeah,
What did he play, 10 games and he got hurt?
Something
10, 12
like
games.
Yeah, I know he had some injuries.
I mean, I'm glad I don't watch Vancouver Canuck hockey or have season tickets, and it's a incredibly expensive ticket.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
And like the top to live in Vancouver in itself is difficult. It's too bad because they deserve something better than what they're getting.
Yeah,
but
no doubt about it. So, needless to say, none of us have us making the play. I have them at 60 points. They had 69 last time. I think they're following.
I'm looking at a piece of paper. You have them in the Avalanche coming out of the division playing for the Stanley Cup.
Oh, yes, that's right. No, I have them.
That's just
Avalanche, I think, will improve a bit.
You're looking at it from the
it's
opposite side, so they're on the top.
Let's talk about our friends in Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas. So here's the three questions. How much will they rely on Marc-André Fleury? Yes, a lot.
Marc-André Fleury.
Whatever his name is.
Oh, Dave.
Andre.
They have a very good backup, by the way. Calvin Pickett played a lot of games
so
for
that's
Colorado.
Not bad.
So
which defenseman will be moving up at training camp, and how will, if you thought I mispronounced that one, Vadim
Shipachev. He is 30 years old. I mean, the guy's been
the Russian
around.
guy. So how will he do?
They've got a very good roster. I mean, Nate Schmidt and Colin Miller are two better than any defenseman on the Vancouver Canucks.
Oh, yeah, they're
both
really good.
They got Eric Hall, they got James Neal, they got Perron, they got Oscar Lindbergh, Shea Theodore.
Yeah.
This team is going to compete. They're not going to make the playoffs.
I have them at 70 points.
More than Vancouver, right?
Oh, yeah.
I have them better than Vancouver. It's going to be interesting to watch a rivalry develop between Vegas and in Arizona.
Yeah.
It should be. That would be good for hockey.
I think so.
Gerard Gallant's a good coach, and they have no expectations.
They could go higher, but 70 at least.
Vegas has probably the best Twitter account already.
Oh, isn't it amazing?
It was great. They're hilarious.
They're nonstop.
Yeah, they
really
said
good.
on their they tweeted the official account something about like if LA would worry more about their salary cap situation or something. It was just a great banner back and forth, and that's what you need.
Yes.
I don't remember the whole thing, so it's not as funny when I say it. But go find them on Twitter and check it out. They're really
There's
doing
really
a good job.
great marketing too. They're really a good
And
organization.
they were
Phenomenal
packed
marketing.
crowd there. They won a training camp the other day.
Everyone should watch this team. Try to identify with it. Watch how they do things. Even if you don't have to be a fan, watch how they build it. Watch how they market it. Watch how they develop it.
I mean, you're in Vegas, for God's sakes.
But
right?
there's a system. There's a plan.
Yeah.
We've had the GM on. Gallant's a very good coach.
Oh,
Got screwed in Florida. That whole disaster. And
that didn't make sense.
So that is our Pacific picks. I think we should jump right into the Central.
This is going to be
okay. We're going to go
B
alphabetical.
before A.
What?
B
well, we know
before
Chicago
A.
will be towards the top of the alphabet.
I think they should
We'll
be
see.
first,
They're
sports
first,
fans, and then followed by our favorite team in Denver.
Oh, great. Okay.
Let's start with the Blackhawks. We got a lot to talk about here, not just because Eric's a fan, but this is an intriguing team.
Oh, yeah, you're a fan, aren't you?
I am.
He wore his 2013 Stanley Cup.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Do you have your questions related to that we can kick around the table here on the Chicago Blackhawks?
And right here, right now, we have, did they make too many changes? I mean, changes. 10 players acquired, free agency and trades. I mean, that's quite a few. Bringing Brandon Saad back, pretty good move, I think. Sharp, they brought back, but people have left. Panarin, Sharmelson, a host is out.
It's like the Blues Brothers. They're putting the band back together.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Will the changes affect? Will Jonathan Toews get back to peak form? I don't know. I mean,
this team has too much. Okay, even with those changes, they're a very good hockey team. They got the best coach in the NHL on the Kenville. Let's see how he keeps getting on with Stan Bowman. There is a rift there. I don't know if you just saw it in camp. Roosevelt failed his physical concussion syndrome.
Yeah.
Going back to the regular season game with Anaheim when Neil Ritchie, he's not going to – so they have question marks on defense right now. I mean, but still, I think Connor Murphy is going to be a breakout year with that team. I like a lot of things about the Blackhawks. Crawford's still a great goalie. They need a backup.
Some friction between him and Stan Bowman, though.
That's the coach. A lot. There's this friction there.
They fired his assistant coaches, or Stan Bowman did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead.
One name to watch when you guys mention, former Hawks coming back. I think Patrick Sharp's going to have a nice year. I think he's healthy.
I agree.
Or at least more healthy.
I think he'll score 20 goals.
I believe so, too. And, losing Hossa is tough. I mean, obviously, the contract, all this stuff. But, he's not retired yet, per se. But I don't think he'll be ever, able to play again. It's unfortunate because he's still, he's a really good player still. Yeah. But I think Taves, he was much better the second half of last year. Obviously, the playoff sucked royally for them. But, Kane is still one of the most talented. Saad fits in fantastically.
Oh, he will. Yeah, I mean.
It's nice. Yeah, use Panarin's offense. But, again, Saad, the overall game, I think.
Ryan Hartman's going to, local kid, he's going to get better. Yeah. I wish they brought in someone to back up Corey Crawford when they traded Darling. That's a big, big if.
Yeah.
You got guys like Forsberg and all these other people, Barabee. That's a tough one, but still, I think we should let hometown hero Eric get his shot in here.
Well, for years first of all, they are tied for the second best odds along with Dallas in the West at 12-1, and for a couple years I've been thinking that this is the year that it's going to take a downturn. Somehow they come out last year and the young guys can fill in the gaps, and they end up with the most points in the conference. I think that those Taves and Kane contracts are just too big.
Yep.
They got lucky to get out of the Hossa deal, which was a brick around their neck. They snuck out of it, whether you agree with how it went down or not. But, yeah, Hartman and Schmaltz are fully capable. Richard Panik came out of nowhere last year. I think he's a real solid second, third line.
A good player.
Sure. They've got several guys at Rockford who come up and come back down. But problems on defense, the same story we've had for the past couple of years.
Right.
I don't know much about Connor Murphy, but if they traded for him, I assume that they like him in their system.
Yeah, he's ready to make a move. But everything you're saying is exactly. I think we're all in agreement. But still, they got enough there. They're going to make the playoffs. They have too much.
Yeah. Why?
Okay. But did they address a team like the Nashville Predators in a 7-game series with their speed? No. That's why I don't have them coming out of the division.
This is the year they're dropping.
In it. They're going to drop it.
I think from 109 to 99 points, just barely either wild card or the last seed.
They're definitely in
the
transition. There's no question about it.
You would agree?
Oh yeah,
just barely
absolutely. And I agree with Rick. I think Connor Murphy will do fantastic there, but Chalmerson, there's these little things he does that really lead a lot to some of that success. Not just blocking shots, but your stick 1 centimeter that way could deflect that pass away, per se. He's just so smart. They're going to miss that, obviously. But Murphy could provide still the physical presence. He should hopefully get better defensively. And offensively, he should be better than he's shown. Yeah. He has some skill. So I like that. And you mentioned, Franzen probably will end up making the team.
He's going to have to make the team because after Keith, Brent Seabrook, and Connor Murphy, it's
pretty bare. I mean, and Van Rinsdijk, they had to move, of course. And I'm not a big Franzen guy, but like you said earlier, he could play in that bottom pairing and be okay.
Yeah. He's had a good career. He's not that old either.
Oh, yeah. No, and I just think, up front there's still enough there. And if Panik could do what he did, last year and even improve off it if possible, I mean, that's huge.
He's going to be moving off the Taves line.
Oh, yeah. And
Saad and Sharp, I believe, will be paired up.
So we all have Chicago in, or we all
They'll make it, yeah.
I have them in barely.
But they're in.
They're in.
We don't have to put an asterisk that says barely.
Barely.
I think that they're my team, yes, but I think that they have the highest potential, the highest gap between their best season and their worst season.
Yeah.
An injury or two, they could be on
Especially
the outside.
Corey Crawford. They're done.
True.
If they don't have a Darling to go play there.
I thought they should have kept Darling, and if they could somehow move Crawford, save a couple $1 million, sign Darling to a 6-year deal.
It's interesting how you put that because, Flacco's right. If they won that division during the regular season,
nobody would be surprised.
I wouldn't be shocked. But if they finish sixth,
no one will be surprised.
Exactly.
Good point. Yeah,
and that's
a lot of youth.
Yeah, and looking at the Pacific, that's with like L.A. How I kind of have, if things go wrong again, they could finish barely in front of Vancouver, Vegas. But if everything goes right, maybe not win the division, but second, third type thing. And with the Central, though, to me, almost everyone could be under that because it's a blood, other than Colorado, a bloodbath potentially.
It's tough. I mean, it's like the Metropolitan.
Actually, you're right.
Going to be so. These teams will beat each other up. We'll see a lot of 3-point games again, where you get to overtime, and it's going to be fun.
They're going to miss Jalmerson. Hopefully, they can find a pairing on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, they came up with Frolik and Kruger out of nowhere, and
right.
top 5 in the league in penalty
Kruger.
kill. If they can find somebody.
Yeah.
Now Kruger, despite the contract, they had to move it out. Bottom 6 guys, sometimes you look at his dime a dozen, but he was so smart in his role. I do think they'll miss him in that regard. But, again,
they're the type of team they're always going to be competitive, and they're always going to be better than bottom.
Yeah, they'll find a way. Yeah.
So let's move on.
Colorado.
And has anyone seen Joe Sakic yet?
No.
I think he's still missing in action. I mean, I don't know where to start with this team.
Well, you could start with their goalie. Will he be healthy? Will he be healthy?
Yeah, I mean, if he's healthy, and Bernier now is there.
Bernier was a good pickup. I would have liked him on Chicago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chicago will have Forsberg or Berube in that role, and that's tough. But
this is almost as sad as the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, it is, and I think. Well, look at their stats.
Giving up 100 goals more than you score.
3.37 goals last per game last season.
Power play.
40 or more shots in 11 games, at least 4 goals in 38 games. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, their defenseman, Johnson he missed 36 games. He's not bad. He'll be back. But, there's a lot of question marks, even though they have some potentially pretty good stars.
Well, the Neil Yakupov experiment goes to Denver.
Who knows what's going to happen there? But I don't know there's much to say about them. I have them improving from 48 points. I mean, I don't think
they probably have
to 60. Get them up to 60.
Well, they could. I mean, if I'm an Avalanche season ticket holder, if you said, well, we're going to get 60 points this year, I would say, big deal. I mean, 12 more. This team does not have an identity.
No.
They don't. They lack that. They lack focus.
It's unfortunate.
They've let this Matt Duchene Landeskog thing go on for too long. Now it's in camp.
Yeah.
They didn't pull the trigger when they could at draft. I mean, that was the chance they could to stockpile, and they didn't. And I think they're overvaluing players. I feel bad for Colorado, the fan base. I mean,
not going. Yeah.
I mean, Tyson Barrie's a good player.
Yeah, he is.
They got some really good. Colin Wilson's there now. Is he gonna? He was a number 1 player in Nashville, and they made the move, and he's gonna be tier 1 line minutes.
And the guy from Montreal, Barbario, I think his name is. I think they claimed him.
Yeah, they're
a little bit of an improvement, but
they got issues.
No. Yeah, they do have issues.
Yeah, no, they do. It was tough because Nate McKinnon, if he could bounce back, he's a world-class skill. But, the Duchene thing is just...
It's too long.
Yeah, and he's not an 18-goal scorer like he was last year. Duchene should be 25, 30.
That's crazy, yeah.
Now, I mean, you look, if they don't trade him in camp or whatever, and somehow they could reconcile and, during the season... Hopefully, if he could bring his game, I mean, you have skill on the team, and Rantanen up front, you expect, him to just get better. But I think, Rick, you guys hit it on the head. There's no identity there, and it makes it tough. There are skilled individual players that if they played together well, you actually go, hey, there is skill. I mean,
right.
but that's the thing. But yeah, Duchesne's picture there said it all.
Yeah.
That media day picture. If you guys haven't seen it, look it up. I mean, it's like, I have to be here, but at least he's coming. Because some guys in that situation would possibly just say, yeah, but you got to move him. Unfortunate. Now that I don't know what type of value they'll get from him, though. I mean,
well, the longer they wait, the less value they're going to get. Unless Sakic is waiting for some team to have an major injury in camp, that someone's going to blink and give up that extra defenseman what you need from. I wouldn't now.
Right, yeah. Hamonic was the way they possibly should have gone. I mean, if that was really a centerpiece of an offer there before Hamonic was moved to Calgary. Now, I get Sakic needs to do the best he can, and there's some nerves, obviously, knowing that this is an asset you have, that you could get that piece or pieces that you could start, well, they've been rebuilding, but, some type of identity change. But, I think possibly waited way too long here, so you might have to have some luck.
Whoever he goes to, he's going to make that team better because he's going to be motivated.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any top, the prospects who are going to get picked first and second and third in the draft? Is there an Eichel, a McDavid, a Line A, anybody in there this year that's
Dillon, the defenseman? He could be a generational defenseman.
It's still evolving.
Not
too early.
Right. There may not be that forward that.
Because if I'm a Colorado fan, that's what I'm hoping that we tank and we can.
Well, knowing their luck, though, like last year, you'll have other teams get the 3 lottery wins, and then there you go.
You're opposite of the Edmonton charm, the luck of Edmonton you don't have there.
We're broadcasting today at Dillon's KC BBQ, 20585 North 59th Avenue. And, we'll be back talking about the rest of the Central Division. And preseason hockey starting 2 o'clock. Here, NHL Network, broadcasting on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060. We'll be right back.
NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060, KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
And welcome back again. You're listening to Real Hockey Talk live on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 KDUS. We're broadcasting live from Dillon's KC BBQ, located at 20585 North 59th Avenue in Glendale. And we're really honored to have Kelly, the PR marketing manager for Dillon's. Kelly, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great. We were here almost about a year ago. Such a great place. This is one of my favorite restaurants, by the way.
Thank you.
The barbecue. You still have the Brontosaurus ribs?
Yes, we do.
Phenomenal. If people don't try that, it's like they're missing out on something they never knew existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're impressive.
Yeah, I suspect that's pretty popular here, right?
Yeah, it is, definitely. That and our pulled pork.
Oh, nice stuff. And you could just smell the great barbecue right in the parking lot. It drew me in, even though I knew I was going to be here. And even if I wasn't, I'd be here anyway. So tell us a little bit about Dillon's. You have 4 locations, and why don't you describe each of the locations?
Well, this location right here, we just added 12 new TVs, so we're super excited about football season and getting that going. We also have our location out at Lake Pleasant, which we're super proud of.
I've been there. It's so relaxing there.
It is. And we have doors that can go up and down, AC. It's really nice.
I'm looking at the picture here on the back of the menu. It looks beautiful. It looks like a little
place.
Somewhere out of the
it's like paradise.
The Northeast here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except it's KC Barbecue.
Yep, and it's floating on the water.
Floating on the water.
It is, and that gives it that sort of calming effect, I think.
Yes, it does.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 others.
We do. We have one at the Wildlife World Zoo as well, and there's a 60,000-gallon shark tank in the dining room.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Where's that? Where's the Wildlife World Zoo?
The 303 in Northern, out in Litchfield.
Oh, yeah. That is a cool place.
Yeah. We have flamingos on the patio. It's beautiful.
Man, that is really nice. And then I think the original, right by my office, by the way, we're in 83rd and Thunderbird. You have the original Thunderbird in what, 90?
Like 99.
Yeah, 99.
Yeah, in Thunderbird.
That's a nice place, too.
Yeah.
That's a really good place. So last year we interviewed Rich Dillon, the great owner of this place.
One of the owners, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
one
two.
of them.
Yeah.
And boy, it's been a popular restaurant for a long time.
Yeah, we're about to celebrate 18 years at that location.
I remember when we talked to Rich, and I'll ask you, I'm not sure you're going to have it again, but Thanksgiving, there was something special last year. Do you have that again?
Yeah, we do that every year. We have our ham dinner and we have our turkey dinner.
And talk a little bit about that, because I think it's really a popular thing for people.
Well, this year we have a honey smoked ham that we're serving up. It's $15.99 for adults and $7.99 for children.
Wow.
And we don't do our regular menu that day, though.
Yeah.
It's just a special menu.
And that's such a great price.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you think of value, you got to think of Dillon.
No cooking. We do all the cooking. We do all the cleanup. It's awesome.
It's everything. I mean, they say, happy wife, happy life. So, it sounds like a natural fit.
Yeah.
Let's get down here. So that'll be here again.
Yes.
Do you have to make reservations for that?
You don't have to, but we recommend it because it's one of our busiest days out of the year.
All the locations will have it, or just a select?
Not the lake location.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does, and I think they have a little different menu, or not as many things, right?
We don't have the ribs out there.
The brontosaurus.
Yeah, or the baby backs.
I gotta come here to go and then bring it there.
You could if you want to.
I know. I'm kidding. But it's definitely worth going to Lake Pleasant location.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because it is so relaxing.
Well, and there's so much to do out there. There's like fly boarding, paddle boarding, so it's fun for the whole family. And you can have boats out there, too.
Oh, yeah. It's really such a beautiful setting as well. Now, tell us, do you have a happy hour? Or what do you have here?
We do have happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 7 p.m. All drinks are 50 cents off, and then we have a bar food menu. That's awesome. We just changed it up, so we have new items.
Do you have those, I remember coming here a lot, and between here and the Thunderbird location quite a bit, some of the happy hour food, like onion rings
Our onion rings are amazing. They're like $3.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's and they're really good.
Yeah.
And what other things do you have?
We have some sliders, so you can do pulled pork, brisket, turkey sliders that are always a good hit. We have our pretzels, our Bavarian
pretzel.
They're amazing.
You had me at Bavarian.
And you can do them with cinnamon and frosting too.
Oh, what? Dessert pretzels.
Yes.
Oh, those are tasty.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take two.
For you.
I'll take two.
Yes, I'll take 4. But, it's definitely, I've been here many times during happy hour. It is definitely some really good values.
Oh, yeah. And then during football games, so Saturdays and Sundays, we have domestic pints for $2.50.
Oh, wow.
Can't beat that.
That works.
I remember, I think it was last year, more often I think I went to the Thunderbird location, I believe. I was here also during football season, but I thought there was a special on a breakfast that you did.
Yes, on Sunday mornings we open for breakfast. So if you order 2 drinks, you get a free breakfast.
That is really cool. Now, when you say 2 drinks, it could be any type of drink?
Any type of drinks.
Like orange
You can't
juice,
order water, Dave.
But not water.
Not 2
not
waters.
Water, yeah.
I know. But orange
take
juice
2 waters
or Diet Coke.
And a free breakfast.
Yep.
And I did that, and it was really good.
Yeah.
See, that's smart. And you're the manager in marketing. Do you get credit for that idea? It's a great idea.
I should take credit for it.
Yeah, I think you should.
Just say yes.
Yeah.
All right, yes.
I think the
Definitely.
We're going to give you the credit either way.
Yeah.
All right.
But it is clever, though. A lot
yeah.
of places typically don't open up that early, a lot of the pure sports bars. And so they have to figure out what to do and, how to open early and what do you do? People want breakfast usually.
Yeah, and how to get them in. So this location that we're at right now, we're so proud of it. If you look around and all the TVs.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Anywhere you're sitting, you see TVs.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And you can, looks like you have music too going.
We do. We have live entertainment Fridays and Saturdays.
Wow, and how's that work out? Is it?
Oh, it's awesome. We
do
get
they
people
dance
on the floors
there
dancing. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
We just put up new lighting on our dance floor.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That is really cool. So you've really thought this through really nicely, and you put a lot of investment into it, too.
For sure. Yeah, this is one of our pride and joy.
Now, how long have you been here, Kelly?
I've been with Dillon's for about 7 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah. The owners are great people to work for.
That is really cool. And you have a young lady to your left.
Yes, this is Haley.
And Haley is... Who's Haley?
She's a bartender, cocktail server. She's our it girl.
Wow, and you have an A. Is that University of Arizona you got on there? Wow.
Yeah, we're promoting our college package that we have here. So we have all the college football games.
Oh, really? Tell us about that. Who wants the? Okay, I think she pointed to you.
What do you want to know about it?
Oh yeah.
We just got it, so we're super excited.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is it when? Is it?
Like the Big Ten and.
Yeah, and so during, would you say your most packed Sunday mornings because of football season, or college on Saturdays?
Well, I would say Sundays are busier right now for us because we're just starting to really promote the college.
Okay.
So I don't think a lot of our guests, our regulars, know about it yet.
Okay, gotcha. So. Well, they probably will, and you're in such a great area too. Arrowhead Ranch is such a nice area. Your freeway access, but a couple blocks north of the 101 and 59th. You can't beat that, and you're open till how late?
Fridays and Saturdays we're open till 10. The rest of the days we're open till 9 p.m.
And then Sunday morning, like tomorrow morning,
we open at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. for the football action.
Yeah, of course.
I wonder what's on tomorrow. Do you know?
No. Aren't you supposed to know that?
The Cardinals
I don't know.
will be tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Oh, the Cardinals.
The Cardinals play the Colts tomorrow at 10 a.m.
That's right. See, you know your football.
Good job, Haley. Woo!
And it's Haley, right?
Yes, it is.
And U of A. Did you go to U of A?
I did. I went to Grand Canyon, but
that's a good school
U
too.
of A is
But why do you have an A then for U
all
of A?
my family.
Oh, they would not would not allow you to wear a Dan Marley's jersey or something.
Correct.
Because he's the coach, of course, at Grand Canyon. I hear they have a good soccer team.
They do.
Yeah, they remarkable college actually. Yeah, but back to Dillon's. So how long have you been a bartender here?
Actually, I've been with Dillon's. I started off when I was 15 years old, and
Wow.
I'm actually 23 right now, so I've been here for
I would
going
say you
on
still
8
look
years.
like 16 or 17.
I do.
Right?
I look like a little baby, but yeah, I've been
You've
doing
been here a while.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of our employees have been.
And that's a credit to management, isn't it?
Management and the owners.
Yeah.
I've never worked at a different company, and I honestly don't ever want to try to get another job. I love it here.
Oh, that is
from our
cool.
owners to management to everybody.
It's a good place.
It's a great people to work for, and the staff.
And you could tell the energy when you walk into any Dillon's. It has that feel. I want to say a family feel.
Oh,
to it.
definitely.
That's what I get.
Yeah, that's our goal. Make
Which is a
feel
great
like
goal.
family.
Yeah, and so is there a certain demographic? I mean, age that comes in here. You have little kids and oldsters.
It varies.
Yeah.
It's definitely a family place. Fridays and Saturday nights we have let's say like 30 to 50-year-olds.
Oh wow!
But yeah, it's a wide variety.
Which is really nice. What you want, and again, the barbecue is just the menu is outstanding. The food is delicious, and you figure, well, they've been around 18 years. They have a great reputation, and then it was smart marketing, in my opinion, going out to Lake Pleasant, sort of a destination type of thing, as well as the wildlife deal.
Oh yeah, and I would say that each of our locations are totally different and unique.
Which is really cool from a marketing standpoint. I like it. Now, any expansion going on? It's mainly the West End, it appears. Anything in the East where Rick is from?
Ooh, probably not East.
Yeah.
There's always a possibility, though.
Well, you never know. But still, it's a hop, skip, and jump, right?
That's
with
true.
the freeways. And is there anything else that you offer? You do catering, I suspect.
We do catering, yes. Lori is our catering director. She'd probably love it if I gave out her phone number, too, right? So
sure,
if you
could.
If you need any catering or have any catering needs, call 623-208-8677.
Wow, that is cool. So the catering phone should be ringing off the hook right
Hopefully.
now. And then, do you have private parties occasionally here?
We do, and we do have a separate room at this location where you can host a 75-person party.
Oh, wow. So that's a good deal, too. That's really, really good. And are you ever closed?
The only day that we are closed is Christmas Day.
Okay, so great access, and which is really nice. And you got a hockey game, Greg's favorite team, LA Kings, playing right now. You got golf going on. You got football going on. You got a lot of stuff going on right now.
NASCAR even, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a very comfortable place. Some bars you walk, it's not a bar, this is a restaurant, but some places you walk in, you feel sort of cramped, and you got to scoot or jump over chairs. This is wide open.
Oh, yeah.
You got to love that.
We do.
And same with the other, I've been 3 out of the 4 locations. Thunderbird, same way, very, very open. And Lake Pleasant, very pleasant.
Yes.
Very open. Yeah, I got the seat that, I don't know how to describe it, but there's a painted, yeah.
It's the one with the
butt.
bikini.
Yeah.
Bikini.
And so my wife was sitting there, and I'm looking. I go, when did that happen?
You had to take a double
yeah.
look.
No, it looked so real.
Yeah.
We took pictures. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, it's sort of cool, right? It's a cool
definitely.
little thing. And so anything else that we've missed that we want to talk about at Dillon's?
I think we've pretty much gone over everything.
Wow, you guys are awesome. We really appreciate you, and
Thank you.
we very much enjoy coming here. I love this place. We have an office, like I said, by the Thunderbird location, and it's just a real I'd call it comfortable family atmosphere with delicious food.
Well, thank you, and thank you for coming out today.
Oh, you're more than welcome, and we always enjoy coming out here. And again, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll be back for another round at some point. And they're taking a selfie live on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 KDUS. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank
Kelly
you.
and Haley. Very cool. Thank you very
awesome.
much.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. And we'll now go back to the
Dallas Stars.
The Dallas Stars. Oh, that's where we were? I don't remember that.
Before we go to Dallas, Dave, what sides would you like?
Yeah, what sides are there? So
this is
fries,
critical
potato
right now.
salad, coleslaw, barbecue baked beans, although Rick's having those as well as Eric, which means it will be a stinky. Baked potato, vegetable
it's
of the
natural.
day, cottage cheese, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes.
You get two sides?
Two sides. Go ahead.
All right. How about a baked potato, only butter?
Riveting radio right here.
Yeah, riveting.
I'll take a side of Ben Bishop and Mark Mathot.
Yeah.
Improving Dallas's
with a
prospects.
sprinkle
And,
of
is
Marty
there a
Hansel.
vegetable?
Vegetable of the day.
Whatever that is.
Oh, okay.
All right. And no sauce on the burn-ins.
I know.
Okay.
He's a picky little.
Yes, I am.
All right.
So
I'll be back.
We're on Dallas right now?
We're on the Dallas Stars, the team that was the most active
And I
in
have
free
them
agency.
the most increase in points in
Well,
the league.
probably.
Yeah. I like them a lot, actually. And so what questions do we have?
There's one big question, though, at Dallas. Okay, yeah, they've made great moves. Well, let me say great moves. They've made moves. Are they great? Ask that question next year. Mathot is a good move because they needed help in their own end.
Bishop might be.
They've had goaltending issues for 7 years.
Yeah.
If Bishop stays healthy and doesn't have that abdominal pull, they're in good shape. They did increase scoring. They did increase themselves with the third-line checking center with Marty Hansel, although he's not a quick skater. But they have Ken Hitchcock back again. My only question is which Ken Hitchcock is going to coach this team. If it's the Ken Hitchcock that got run out of St. Louis by humiliating players on the bench, Tarasenko not playing him in the playoffs, there's a problem.
What type of barbecue sauce would you like, Rick?
Mild. That's my only question about this. I have them making the playoffs. I do.
Oh, yeah.
I just have – there's some issues there, but they should be one of my 5 teams coming out of the Central.
I have them making 99 points. That would be a 20-point increase, the most in the NHL, which is interesting. Making the playoffs. It could be a wild card or it could be straight up tied with the Blackhawks I have. But the penalty kill, just going a little further, the worst penalty kill in the league, 73.9%. So they got to definitely improve a bit, but I
Hansel
think they
and Mathot will help that.
Yeah, and so would Ben Bishop, I think.
It should.
Yeah, it should. And so, Eric, what say you?
I say yes. I said that they are the 4th team in the division. My heart tells me to put Chicago above them. But, yeah, I think back to, 2 years ago when they were first in the division.
Yeah.
And they might have had some changeover of some players since then. But I think that the moves that they've made are going to put them into the playoff picture this year at the expense of another team.
Yeah, I would
Star
agree.
power, Tyler Sagan.
Yeah, Jamie Benn.
Star power.
Oh, they do.
Got to have star power.
And what's his name from Montreal?
Radulov.
Yeah. So,
who they overpaid for. I'm going to be
but he'll produce some action, though.
Yeah, but once again, they paid this guy like he's a 40-goal scorer.
Yeah.
He's not. I mean, he'll help the team. It's not my money. It's not my checkbook.
No.
I wouldn't have signed him for what they did.
But they could push him over the hump.
They're better than where they were.
No doubt about it. So, Greg,
you're at Dallas making it?
Yeah. Man, I want to, but I don't think so. I think they'll just miss out.
Really? You
do
not? Wow. This is the earth is trembling right here.
Yeah, it is trembling.
They have the pieces. You would think they should, and despite the numbers, I don't know the numbers. Maybe this is who we were talking about, but with a guy like Marty Hansel, I think his defensive style, if he's healthy, could help because it causes some matchup issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, then you free up Sagan and Ben, guys like that. So, phenomenal offensively again, and I like what Hitchcock should hopefully bring to the defensive end and mix it up. They'll improve a lot. I just think, man, the Central and the West in general is so good. It could be a matter of 1 or 2 points, but I see them just missing out.
You have them on the outside, and what say you, Dave? You have them making it?
I have them making it at 99 points, a big jump up. Either a wild card or straight up. It's going to be close, actually. But I think
Let's
the Central.
Move on to the Minnesota Wild.
Oh, the Wild.
By the way, Dallas, third best odds to win the Cup out of the West at 12-1, tied with Chicago.
So
people are on board that train with all these changes, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like it. So the Wild. Here, Rick,
Minnesota.
you start off on this.
Oh, the Bruce Boudreau-led Wild. They got pressure this year. I mean, they scored. They led on the goal scoring last year, the plus differential. They could score. They could skate. They had a good power play, good penalty kill. Devin Dubnyk, and then nothing. This is going to be a tough year for them. I have them making the playoffs. It's going to be tough. Dubnyk has played 65 games last year, 67 the year before.
Yeah.
They got to cut down on Devin Dubnyk's minutes.
They definitely need that.
Right. They've brought in. They need some leadership on that team that was missing.
They're getting a little old too.
Yeah. Well, Eric Stahl's a great player. I mean, they got the Granlunds, the Niederreyers, the Parisis, the Koivus, Brodin. They still don't have a leader on that team, the Wild, but they have depth and they have speed. And I have them making the playoffs, but I will not see them come out of the West. But I have them making the playoffs.
Oh wow! I had to either choose them or the Kings, and I chose the Kings.
So you have the Wild missing
the playoffs.
So that's a big statement there.
Yeah. I think. I don't know. I think they're getting a little bit old, and I'm not sure that's going to do well for them. Greg.
I have them missing, too.
Ooh.
But again, another good team. They overachieved last year for most of the year during the regular season. Now, there's still a lot to like, and as Rick mentioned, Stahl had a nice year, signing there. And, good guy. They have not that top-line center Iceman anymore, but Granlund, good, getting better and better. So you go, why do you have them missing? But again, the parity in this division, and there's one specific team in the Central who I finally see making that improvement. And when we get to them, that's sort of why.
I know who it is.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, but that's why I think, a point here or there. I mean, it's going to be that close, I think.
Yeah, that's going to be I get it. I'm with you on that. So
I've got them second.
So you got the Wild
the
in.
Yeah, they're in, yep.
So
you got them second.
They're
really?
the sixth best odds in the West at 18-1 to win the Cup.
And I'm hoping my good friend Dan makes the team. Winnick,
that'd be nice.
We'll have Tom Reed, who's the former North Star and does play-by-play color announcing for the Wild on the show as the season progresses.
That would be great.
So we'll get some perspective.
Tried
to get him this week, but he's tied up in camp right now.
But I think some of the odds are because they had such a great season, not towards the end, but 106 points and plus 58 margin. That I think that's some of the reason.
Is Boudreau on the bubble to be one of the first coaches fight if they come out flat?
I think that's hard. I think he has a little bit of leeway. I mean, it depends how flat, but I don't think so. Maybe as the year progresses, if they're not going to make the playoffs, and maybe or at the end of the year. But I think he's safe for right now at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, despite the disappointing ending.
Yes.
I still think there was enough there earlier.
All of his endings have been disappointing.
Well, that is true.
The team plays the certain way, and it's the tale of two cities. The regular season, and then the playoffs come.
Well, towards the end of the year, they just bombed, though.
Well, that's because they had Marty Hansel in the locker room. They went 3-15 when
it was
he joined
very
the team.
disappointing for them, but
they were awful.
So who says they're making? Who says no?
Well, I have them making it.
Yes,
and
so
Eric.
2-2. No. Yeah, I don't think so either.
So the two smartest people around the table of four have them making it.
Well,
let's move on.
King fans have.
I don't know if I agree with that part of it,
but where are we? St. Louis?
Because our comedian has shown up, correct? No.
Yeah, he has, but we still have a few minutes till 2:30.
Nashville. The Peter Laviolette almost third Stanley Cup for Laviolette Predators. They've got
Nashville.
They've got going through some changes.
Even though they lost some offense, you have a youngster like Kevin Fiala. I think he's going to step up. And in general, I just think they'll be able to make up for it. I think they will be fine. The Ryan Ellis injury, though,
hurts.
Yeah, definitely, because that's a big thing they have on the back end, where they do have one of the best defensive cores, and so that does hurt. But they could bear with it, though. And
Fiala definitely, they're counting on him. But they're also counting on Colton Sissons.
Yeah,
he had his coming out party in the playoffs. Is a really good two-way player. I mean, they've got a lot. They've got speed. They can score. All bets are off if Rene gets hurt. He's 35 years old. He's had 3 years in a row of playing more than 60 games.
Right.
That's tough.
That is tough.
He's due. It's just law of averages. I think they're gonna. They're defensemen, even with Ellis out, with Ekblom and Roman Josi is a star. Ekblom, Subban. If he stays, they got Emlyn as backup.
Yeah, they
got enough there that they'll overcome. I have them making it.
Yeah.
But I don't think they made enough. If you told me can Nashville beat Edmonton in a 7-game series? No. So, but I have them making it.
I agree. They'll make it.
I have them making it. Improving.
We all bullish on the Predators.
102 points. I think they're really making it solidly in.
Yes. Fifth in the West, tied for fourth. With Anaheim at 14-1.
Yeah. Well, when we come back, we'll have our comedian on, and then afterwards we'll still have a couple minutes to go over the St. Louis Blues and Winnipeg Jets on where we'll have them. There's Real Hockey Talk, broadcasting today from Dillon's KC Barbecue, 20585 North 59th Avenue, here with NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. We'll be right back.
Super Bowl champion Dale Hellestry and the Angry Fan are hard on sports with the Sports Rage. Weekdays 3 to 5 p.m. on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060.
And welcome back again. You're listening to Real Hockey Talk live on NBC Sports Radio. AM 1060 KDUS in Phoenix, Arizona. We're broadcasting from Dillon's KC Barbecue, located at 20585 North 59th Avenue in Glendale. I'm Dave, alongside Eric, Rick, Greg, and a comedian from Rick Bronson's House of Comedy. I shouldn't say from that, but you're going to be performing there.
I'll be performing
tonight,
there,
and I bet tomorrow.
I am not.
Not tomorrow.
Tonight's the only chance. Nope.
Only chance tonight, 7 and 9:30, I bet.
7:30, 9:30.
I'm close, but no cigar.
You've created a lower supply.
I was born in a house of comedy, and
but we got Mo.
I'll be performing.
Amir, did I say?
Ammer.
Ammer.
Yeah.
Why did I? Wow.
It's fine. It works out either way for me. Just Google it. It's fine.
You're right.
Everybody find
Mo Ammer. Wow. Very good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. So tell us a little bit about your style of comedian. What do you what is there someone similar that you remind yourself of?
I mean, what kind of comedian?
Who do you aspire to be other than yourself?
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
That's a different question.
Stand-up comedy is about being yourself. You know, it's about being who you are and being able to communicate true concepts and make them hilarious. So for me, I'm being me. Who have I been inspired by? I started stand-up when I was 14, 4 years after I saw Bill Cosby live. And I know that name obviously sends a lot of triggers in people's minds. But the fact of the matter is, still Bill Cosby in his comedic career. He's the one who inspired me to do stand-up when I was 10.
Nice.
And I started doing stand-up when I was 14. And I've been touring the world doing stand-up the last 18 years. Yeah, man, that was one of the first people. And obviously I went on and started studying stand-up and learning the art form itself and the history of stand-up comedy. People don't really know the history of stand-up, and it's a protest art form, and it's meant to make you laugh, make you think. I mean, it goes back really, really deep, and it's one of the indigenous art forms to America. There's only 3 indigenous art forms, and that's hip-hop, jazz. And stand-up comedy. So
wow, didn't know that.
I love that.
So all those factors are in there. So of course I've been touring with Dave Chappelle the last 5 years, and he's been mentoring me the last. And I've been watching him, perform hundreds of shows and seeing him at his highest level and performing stand-up at that mastery of the craft is really, really eye-opening. So he's definitely on my list, not just as a personal friend or mentor, but also like somebody who you see execute on stage. There's a lot of people that have influenced me. And
how about Lenny Bruce?
Of course. I mean, you can't really have stand-up or talk about stand-up and freedom of speech without talking about Lenny Bruce and talking about George Carlin. I mean, those are famous court proceedings, when they're all walking out of the courthouse. So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a big, big fan of Lenny Bruce. And as a matter of fact, Dave Chappelle, I would say, emulates a lot of Lenny Bruce-type mannerisms where he's sitting on a stool, smoking a cigarette. He kind of talking about some really hard topics to discuss in a stand-up venue, but he does, and he pulls it off with.
He does
really well.
We've had many comedians on the show in the past. You're the first one that talked about studying stand-up comedy and the background of it and the history. When you say you study, well, first of all, do you think other comedians study it? And second, what does that mean to study?
Yeah, sure. I don't think enough stand-up comedians probably know the history of stand-up. Like, I'm a student of the art form. I'm in love with stand-up comedy itself. And, just like being a football player, like, how are you going to know without knowing the history of football itself, the players that came before you that opened up those possibilities for you? You have to know what your field is. You have to really know about it. So what does it take? It takes for you to be, astute of your craft and watch other comedians that came up before them, know who came before you and who's laid the lay of the land for you to have a career, and a successful career for you at this point. And, stand-up is like being a pilot. The more flight hours you get, the better you are. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. You just need to go up
sort
on
of
stage
like athletics. The more reps you get, right?
Absolutely.
How long would you say it took you? One of the things I hear often is it takes comedians time to find their own voice, and for their first X number of years, they're really just doing impressions of comedians that they were inspired by. Did you have that happen to you? Do you feel like it took you some breakthrough? Or
of course, it does take time, but I definitely used to abide by that. I'm like, hey, it definitely, you have to find your own voice. What does that mean? You have a certain voice at a certain time at a certain age. Like, I started so young that when I listened to my CD when I was 18 years old, it's just where I was at 18.
Right.
Maybe I was emulating some things here and there, but you definitely heard that is Mo Amer at 18 years old. And it's very interesting to hear that. And you go 10 years later, and then you're like, oh, this guy doesn't even sound anything like what I sounded like 10 years previous. I mean, you do that with Chappelle as well. You listen to Chappelle now, and you listen to what he dropped 10 years ago. His voice sounds different. It's just a growth and life experience that you need to go through that eventually you find where, that mastery where you can just go on stage anywhere, anytime, no matter what environment, and know how to bring everybody in just because you've had enough repetition.
Now, what industry would pay you enough to get you out of comedy?
I don't know, man.
Because that's what I said that because most people will sell out. I don't mean that in a bad way, but they'll get paid for not living their dreams. You know, there's a attractive salary, but
I'm waiting to sell out. Definitely, I'm going to cash out really big.
Well, yeah,
but
I know, but you got to have the passion and the love because you know, a lot of competition as well as in many other areas. But I suspect you travel a lot. Is my guess.
And I've performed in over 35 countries.
So there's some major benefits.
Yeah,
there
every single state. Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. When I do college tours and stuff, they ask me, "What should we do? What should I do? What's the best advice you could tell me?" Travel. Go to as many places as possible, and whatever you're trying. Like, a lot of people don't know what they want. I was very lucky where I knew what I wanted to do early on in my life. And I pursued it immediately without listening to any noise. And people, I think, get stuck because they keep thinking in the same environment. So touring or traveling allows you for that free space. And, you start interacting with people and you start having conversations you don't normally have, and that is very inspiring of its own.
Now, I'm on the internet right now, and I see this picture of you and Eric Trump.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
It looks like in an airplane or something.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
You were one of the few people that didn't hear about that. So I was, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen with it. So last year.
It's a nice picture, though.
Yeah, it's so nice, sweet. We were drinking tea together.
That's cool.
No, I'm just teasing.
Oh.
We did sit together on a flight, but it requires some backstory. So I was heading to tour. I just got off a plane from Australia, and I'm catching another flight to Scotland. And I'm going to go start a 25-city tour in Scotland.
Oh, my goodness. That's a lot of cities.
That's a lot. It was nuts. So it's 31 days total. 25 of those days I'm supposed to be in every city, different city every day, and 6 days off. Well, I board this flight, and I sit down next to Eric Trump, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the hell's going on? So I got upgraded to first class, which I travel enough with the airline.
Oh, they'll do that, yeah.
They'll do that for me, but I thought it was oversold. Because I procrastinated on putting my name on the list.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But I got there, and boom, next thing you know, I'm upgraded. And the lady looked at me kind of funny. She was like, "You've been upgraded, baby." I was like, "Have I?" So, and it's even funnier because my name is Muhammad. You know, I do all this, immigration talk and stand up and talk about my journey. It's, again, being real on stage and being authentic to who I am.
Right.
And I sit down next to him. When I sat down next to Eric, and I was like, "Salam alaikum, Eric. How's it going, man?" And we had a little chit-chat, and he started laughing, and I was just like, "Hey, man, we're not doing that Muslim ID card stuff, man. We're not doing it." And he goes, "Come on, man. We're not going to do that. You shouldn't believe everything that you read." I was like, "There's nothing that I've read. Here's some video footage of your father saying this exact thing."
Oh.
And he started laughing.
He
started laughing. Yeah, he started laughing it off. He was like, "Come on, it's all good." I was like, "Yeah, it's cool."
How is it?
So then I took a picture, and then I put it online, and next thing you know, I landed in Scotland. And apparently that picture went around the earth.
It's a cool picture, yeah. Both smiling and so does he serve how would you describe Eric? I mean, did you talk to him a while? Or?
Yeah, we talked for about 45 minutes before he crashed and I crashed because it was, overnight
Long
flight. I'm
yeah.
exhausted myself. Forget about his schedule. My schedule is probably more hectic. I just flew in from Australia. I'm like, my time, my clock is completely off. We had a, decent conversation.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of a cool deal.
Yeah.
So you probably meet all sorts of different industries, different people, and
absolutely.
Any favorite story that you have on a plane or train or
anywhere
that?
I probably one of my favorite stories is the first time I met Stevie Wonder.
Oh, that's a cool.
The first time.
The first time, yeah.
That's
I've
a
been
cool
blessed
deal.
to meet. I've had a lot more time with Stevie Wonder since then, but it was a really hilarious story because I was doing this comedy festival in Detroit. A buddy of mine gives me 2 passes to go see Stevie Wonder. Wow. I'm like, cool, so I go watch. I ended up giving the ticket to a buddy of mine. He comes with me. And in the middle of the performance, I see this harmonica player come out by the name of Frederick Yone, who I know very, very well. He's a friend of mine. I totally spaced out, that he actually tours with Stevie Wonder. And he toured with Prince, and he toured with all these great artists. So I was like, oh, crap, we should go say hello to with Freddie. We should say hello to Frederick and see if we can go meet Stevie. So they thought I was kind of crazy. It was like, whatever. So I didn't listen to anybody. I just went around the corner, and I see Fred. I was like, Frederick, after the show. He was like, Bo. He's like, he gives me a video. He's like, hold on a second. And he goes back, and he gets me some passes. Boom, stick them on. And now I'm just, waiting to meet freaking Stevie Wonder.
Oh, man.
And then I was sitting there, And there's like probably, because this is his hometown, it's Detroit, it's Motown, that's where he's from. So there's like probably 60, 70 people waiting to meet him in this enormous backstage room. And he comes out with the most decked out like coat. He looks amazing. He comes out, and I see everybody is just stunned, like in shock,
right.
like, oh my God, it's Stevie Wonder. And I've been in enough situations where I know I've lost opportunities when I'm with like Dave and all these different celebrities and icons walk in, and people they freeze like sheep. So I was like, oh, everybody's in sheep mode. I'm going to go get my quick, 3 to 5 minutes with Stevie and just tell him I love him. I'm such a big fan. So I easily go right through before everybody starts waking up and, being able to talk to him. So I make a beeline straight to him. I'm like, Mr. Stevie Wonder, such a pleasure to meet you. My name is Mo Ammer. And I know Frederick Yone, your harmonica player, is a dear friend of mine. And I just wanted to say you're so inspiring. Your work, what you've done in music, what you do in culture, how you influence the world in music. I'm just like a massive fan. Then I stop. Wow. He goes, oh, thank you, brother. Thank you so much, Mama. Thank you.
Wow.
And then he stops and goes, are you taking a selfie? I was like, yeah, I'm taking a selfie. How'd you know? And I totally forgot he was blind.
Oh, yeah.
I totally forgot that he was blind. And I was just in the moment, and I was trying to, get the thing moving. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wonder. And I wasn't trying to be rude. I was just, trying to follow post-show protocol.
Sure.
Because I know there's a lot of people waiting for you. He goes, did you just say post-show protocol? I was like, yeah. He goes, I like that. I'm like, keep
yeah.
I was like, all right.
Oh, wow.
So I was just trying to keep moving. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I appreciate you trying to keep moving, but you got to give an old man time to smile. That's what he told me.
That's right. Good point.
Yeah, you got to let him know. This guy's like, he has an awkward face. I didn't know. I was just trying to be quick about it.
No, it sort of makes sense.
That's a good point.
After how many years and how many fans that he's interacted with, to have him still be cool like
he's
that.
So cool, man.
Because that some of that stuff is just punch the clock, and I got to go and meet people and get through it. And we just got done playing, and he's still got the energy. And the
second time I met him, I was sitting on a couch. It was pitch black. Because me and my wife were just hanging out in Austin after the Chappelle show. There's an after party, and there's a live band. Frederick Yone happened to be leading it. I'm sitting on this really long couch. So sitting there, it's pitch black. And all of a sudden, you hear this soulful, incredible voice start singing. And we still keep talking. We're like, hold on a second. Is that Stevie Wonder singing? And then we look over to the left. He's literally sitting 4 people down from us on the couch. Somebody gave him a wireless microphone, and he's singing with the band from the upstairs balcony.
Oh, that's incredible.
I'm getting chills remembering it. Man. It's crazy.
And
it's totally you don't know who's sitting next to you. Yeah.
Did you take another selfie with him after that?
Yeah, with his permission.
There we go.
With his permission.
It's post-show protocol.
Yeah, post-show protocol.
Traveling around the world, like I think you said 35 countries, and that diversity has to be great material for your stand-up. Am I right?
If you see my hour, that I'm going to record a special here soon, that hour is going to take you for a trip around the world, Wow. Not only would it be like a trip of me, like, leaving Kuwait as a little kid, 9-year-old kid, and coming to America where East meets West, and all the hilarities that ensue after that, and then also traveling globally 20 years later and going back, and then experiencing all that throughout the Middle East, throughout Europe, Australia, South Africa. That my show will take you around the earth.
So that's
cool.
in the material, or is it?
It's in the material, yeah, absolutely.
That's
it
a lot of material.
It just depends on what night you come. Sometimes I'll do this, sometimes I'll do that. So you don't know what you're going to get with me.
Do you know each night what you're going to do, or is it just
probably not? No, most of the time.
Decide.
I mean, I have like several hours of material in the back of my head, but sometimes, especially when you go out on the road and I'm out here at the House of Comedy, you want to. This is where all the magic happens. You come back to the comedy club so you can create. And then it's like, this is like my studio, like when I go into the studio, I'm writing. This is where you come see it. It's basically you're witnessing
experiment
the process.
And fun.
And some comedians can. Some comedians, it's not their cup of tea. They have to write everything down and come out and do that. Carlin was like that, and Pryor was not. I'm very much like I think of a concept, and I take it and I work it on stage.
Wow, that's sort of cool. Now, is there, in your travels, has there been any particular city that you really enjoyed, and is there a city that just didn't get it? I mean, there's different cultures within a country too. Whether it's you're talking about America or some other country in Europe. I mean, are there cities like that you have to be a little more, not careful, but more attentive to the way they think, or how does that work?
You just as somebody who travels often and as a comedian, like comedians are hyper assessors. At least the great ones are. Look really, really quick, sharp, can really sum up a room when they walk into it. Like, I could walk in a room, I hear some murmurs, this and that. I already know what it's going to be like. I've already seen this before. Mm-hmm. It's like, again, going back to the pilot analogy. I've seen this weather before. I know what we need to do. Bing, bing, head this direction.
You're not in a rental car. You're in your own car.
Exactly. This is I can just assess it really quickly. And usually when you fly into a town and you fly into a city, you walk around, get the lay of the land, you read a little bit, kind of see what's going on. But I've never really had an issue with, I think when you become a better and better comedian, it doesn't matter where you are,
But some people get certain jokes and maybe some.
Sometimes what will happen is they'll laugh really hard at the setup, versus like when I'm overseas sometimes the setup will get a bigger laugh than the punchline.
Oh, really? Gotcha.
Like, you guys are really messing up everything here. Yeah, and then you have to like shift gears and play with it more. So you don't know until you go up there.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
So tonight, 7:30 and 9:30.
7:30 and 9:30.
Rick Bronson's House of Comedy. By the way, great venue. By the way,
beautiful. Yeah,
love it out there. And do you think? And then that's it. It's a limited performance.
That's it. Just tune. Yeah, I got 2 more shows tonight. We've been here since Thursday.
Wow.
And heading out, and then I'll be gone, man.
Wow. Shoot.
On the road again.
I'm hoping to get out there tonight. I'd love to see you.
Yeah, come on out. Absolutely.
That'd be sort of fun. And I know Rick. Rick's a great guy, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He runs some great clubs around the country.
Yeah.
He has one in Edmonton, Canada, and he has one in Minnesota.
A very cool place.
In Minneapolis. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Well, wow, it's been a pleasure and honor to have you on our show.
Thank you.
And I know it's Mo Emmer. I said it right.
Boom.
Mo Emmer.
That's it.
All right.
Pleasure meeting you.
Well, thank you so much. Maybe we'll see you tonight.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank
you
for
very
seeing
much.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it. And now we're going to wrap up real quickly.
Blues in Winnipeg.
Central Conference. And that was Mo Emmer. Definitely get out there at Rick Bronson's House of Comedy tonight. 7:30, 9:30 shows. Get out there. You won't regret it. Hey, thanks a lot, Mo. Really appreciate it. Okay. So where do we leave off? I can't.
We were at the St. Louis Blues.
We only have like 6 minutes. Maybe we just should real quickly run down who's going to have playoff position.
Well, I have the Blues in. They have too much.
Oh,
New coach turned it around, Mike Yeo. They've got speed. They've got, remember this name, Colton Parayko.
Yes.
Might not be in the Norris hunt this year, but he's on that way. Big kid, 6'6", 225, can move. Kid's a stud, great defenseman. They've got a lot. They got Tarasenko, Robbie Fabry healthy this year.
Yeah.
Only 21. Brodziak. I look for them making another run. And I think the Jake Allen you saw last year, 61 games, 27-year-old is the Jake Allen you're going to see for a while. So I have the Blues
definitely
in the playoffs.
I have them from 99 points to 108 points. I think they're that good. And I think they're going to be a nice shot. I don't know what the odds are, but
Eric, you agree?
I think they're really up there.
I've got them 5th in the division. Making the playoffs. That's just because I grew up in Chicago and many of my family members.
5th in the division or the conference?
In the division.
In the Central. Oh, but they'll take the second wild card?
Yes.
So we've got them all in.
I have number 1.
Yeah, I have them in. Yeah.
You have them 1?
I don't know about number 1, but in the top 3 in the division. I think they're really good,
Oh, man. Yeah. They're going to be good.
Yeah.
12th in goals for, 12th in goals against last year.
Yeah. It'll be even better. I mean,
I
there's a
think
lot.
so.
And Shen's going to help offensively
tremendously
even more. Yeah.
It's going to be very exciting. And
so we're all pretty much in agreement on the Blues.
Oh, no doubt. Who's left? Oh.
We need to have some conversation here because the gentleman across the table from me is bullish on the Winnipeg Jets.
Ooh. Oh.
And we need to find out, and I can see why, even though I have a no, but I looked hard at Winnipeg to making it. And I also have Paul Maurice on the bubble as one of the first coaches in a fight if they don't start out right. So give me the reasons why. And, great players, we know that. Tell us why.
Well, Steve Mason is an upgrade over what they had. Anything's an upgrade over what they had. But I I think Steve Mason, he's on a 1A, and he won't play like that. But I think they'll finally get an above-average goaltender that could start night in, night out, or at least get his 55, 60 starts. And I feel he'll do that. Now, last year he did struggle with the Flyers, but before that he had finally started to come into his own there with Philly. Obviously it was tough when he was in Columbus after, when he was the star of the World Junior team and all that stuff. But I really see some not great stuff from Mason, but just enough to where this team that is just filled with talent. I mean, you got the speed up front, you have the size up front, a lot of different ways they can beat you. I think there's enough on the back end. I see Trouba only getting better. And they have one of the best farm systems still in the league. And any of these guys,
a lot of kids on the
up,
Canadian junior teams,
yeah, some may be ready, obviously some still some time away. But I think they'll make that enough of a jump. And now if they struggle to start out and they do fire Maurice, I think whoever they bring in, they'll just have such a bolst of energy that if it's early enough and they're not way too far behind, they'll still go on such a run that it's just when you watch them play, if they've had a goaltender, I mean, this is a really good team. I mean, every team, though, in that Central minus Colorado, though, looks good. But I think they will get in the third
I have
spot.
Mason backing up Connor Hellebuck.
Oh, okay.
I think he's that kid's UMass Lowell.
Yeah.
I'm a little biased.
Oh.
They have a lot there. They got a good feeder system.
Uh-huh.
I don't think Paul Maurice is the right coach.
Right. No, he may not be.
Right.
And that's the issue. I mean, and the goaltending over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But if they struggle and within 10 games, if they do it quick, let's say they're like 2-8, 3-7.
You got to cut the cord.
Yeah, and if they do that, but I think then the team will really go on a big run. Scheifele is so
great player.
I'd almost say underrated in some circles. It just depends, but just a lot to like there. And
Brian Little got his extension, and
another skilled player, and we'll see how Bufflin does. Obviously, he's always fun to watch in some ways, but I know depending on where he's playing, he has the struggles. Yeah, but he is. Yeah.
Well, I don't have him making the playoffs. Actually, about similar to last year.
Greg's the only one that has.
And what, you don't have them making it?
Everyone else picks are in.
Yeah.
So there it all. So we have some differences, right?
Yeah.
A lot of agreement. But
some agreement.
The big, Greg doesn't have the Wild in. He has Winnipeg in, so I can see we're going through that. We're close on a lot of things. Because that shows you just how tough that division is. I think what we need to do, maybe start thinking we'll put together everybody. Who's going to come out of each conference right now? It's a little bit harder stretch.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm still looking at Edmonton and Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be interesting because Pittsburgh and Toronto are going to be in the mix. And could be St. Louis and Nashville in the mix. Who knows?
I like the Blues a lot, actually.
Yeah, no,
it's gonna. I can't wait for the first official puck to drop.
Exactly. And when is that? October 7th?
Was it the 5th, I think?
I think it's not. It's not next Friday. The Friday after, right? The 5th.
I think the 5th. I think that makes some sense.
And if you take the 5th, you might be right. But maybe.
Or
if you drink the 5th, you'll definitely be right. All right, so there's
that's what happens when you have a comedian on.
Or if you listen, watch movies, Colin Firth.
Who? Oh, Colin Firth. I remember him.
Fifth and Firth.
Oh, he's Mamma Mia.
Yeah, I also he was in The English Patient too, which
that's right.
Which was like pulling teeth watching that movie from start to finish. Yeah. And my wife goes, "That's Colin Firth." I go, "Yeah." Even he didn't make that movie better.
Yeah, you said you have to go back for more Novocaine after that.
And that's what everyone does when they watch a Colin Firth film. Right away, hey, there's Colin Firth.
Yeah,
and you get everyone around the house up, Colin Firth. And even in movie theaters, when he comes up on the screen, everyone stands up at the same time.
Even
Colin
when he comes
Firth.
on the screen second, you still say Colin Firth.
Look what I started.
Yes.
And we'll see everybody next week. Thank you, Dillon's 20585 North 59th Avenue. Real Hockey Talk, NBC Sports Radio. Have a good weekend.